to the Board of Assessment Appeal hearing. You've got the entire board tonight instead of just one of us.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read a few things into the record for you, and just correct any of them if they're wrong. The time is, it is 5:10 p.m. So your appeal number is 38. The property address is 527 Tungus Hill Road. Owner of the property is Phoenician LLC. The town has the property valued at $846,000 appraised, and you're requesting a reduction to $750,000.
Yes.
Is that accurate? Okay.
I think that sounds accurate.
Okay. And then the next thing I just want to do is confirm who you are. Can you just state your name for the record?
Yes.
Whether you're the owner or on behalf of the owner?
Thomas Canham, I am the owner.
I'm the owner. Okay. And are you an attorney or not?
I am.
You're awesome. Okay, so we don't need to swear you in. So we just need to probably sign that you were here. I'll give you a sheet here.
So you can tell me whenever I should start talking.
Yep, as soon as we sign that, we
Sure,
can.
thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You're good.
Sure. So I do have an appraisal from Baldwin Pearson. In that appraisal,
You have one copy?
I do, and I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
No, that's okay.
I
think
work
that's-
for myself.
I think
but
that's in the record, though.
could be.
I thought I remembered reading it. Baldwin Pearson, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that. Yep.
764.
That was quite the appraisal.
Okay, I don't see it in the file, but maybe did he scan it in?
I don't think
Oh,
that I
read one
did.
from them.
Okay.
I can,
Maybe
what
that's-
appeal number is this again?
Appeal number 38.
38.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
So that is the basis of my claim for a reduction in the fair market value of the property. And I really don't have anything else to say about it.
Do you want to walk us through it at all? Like, just tell us maybe what some of the comps were and whether did you use income and expenses, or did you use comparable sales?
You know, I can, I think it does, the appraisal itself does kind of walk it through. And I believe, and I don't want to speak out of turn because frankly I haven't read the appraisal in quite some time. My intention was
You want it
just
back?
to present it. No.
Okay.
But I think it was done based upon, bear with me for 1 second.
I'm looking at the link.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm just looking at the link.
Sure. It does lay out the size of the building, certainly. It indicates it to be in average condition. It is fully occupied. There are tenants in the property, but it's done by, looks like a market research of the area. And I'm just going to kind of rely on it because I don't want to speak about it without really knowing what the exact details are. But I think it does speak for itself. And I would just respectfully request that the board reduce the taxes in accordance with it. I think it's a better picture of the property based upon an interior and exterior inspection of the property. I always think that that's the better way of having fair market value determined.
Okay.
So,
And I'm just flipping through it, so the third page here actually has the appraisal with a value of $764,000. I think on your form you filled out $750.
yeah, so
Do you want to change it to his value?
I
or you
do,
want to
yes,
stay it?
please.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, and that's going to be true of the next one that I did.
That's okay.
For some reason or another, I didn't have these in front of me before I
Okay, so we're going to
requested
change it to $764,000.
Please.
Okay.
So this is a property, excuse me, hi, I'm Carol Lane.
Hi, Carol, how are you?
That's all, that's rented.
Yeah.
Can you go over it with us? Because we just have the sheet that we have in front of us. And this is, like, this 20 minutes is supposed to be for you to present a little more detail, so
Okay,
so that we can do less work later when.
Sure. So yes, it is rented. I'm trying to shut this thing off. It is rented. There is a medical office on the first floor. It's been occupied for many years as a chiropractic office. The second floor was renovated a few years ago, converted from a commercial use to a mixed use. And that mixed use, which is done through the permitting process, converted it to a mixed use of residential. So there are 2 apartments upstairs. Those apartments are occupied.
And how many bedrooms are the apartments?
One is 2 bedrooms and the other one is 3 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms.
I think that's right.
Okay.
You know what, I'm sorry. I think they're both 2 bedrooms.
Okay. Okay, so we've got medical office, a chiropractic office, and then upstairs is two 2-bedroom units.
Yes.
And that consists of everything that's going on in that building.
Yeah. I know I'm
Okay.
shaking my head here and I'm sorry.
Okay.
One is a 1-bedroom unit. The left side is a 1-bedroom unit as I'm walking through this, and the other side is a 2-bedroom.
Okay.
That's my best
Okay.
memory of it. And I say that because there's more than one room, but I think it's designated one as a bedroom and the other one's a 2-bedroom.
Okay. And
then
in your,
and I'm sorry, and on the lower level,
oh, right.
there is another unit, very small unit, and probably somewhere in the area of just ballparking, maybe 500 and some odd square feet. And I'm not entirely sure if it's occupied or not.
Okay.
Certainly was.
So is there a bathroom there or
Yes,
anything?
there is. And
Kitchenette?
that's a legal unit.
So it's like a studio?
It's not an apartment. It was a hair salon.
Oh,
Okay, and then it went to some type of some type of a salon use over
right,
the
cottage
years.
industry, mom.
And I believe it is occupied. I'm just
Okay.
trying to think the timeframes through.
Okay.
So, 17, I think there's 17 parking spaces there, and that's really all
Okay, and the appraisal, who's looking at the appraisal?
I've got it
Is
right
using
here, but I can-
income, or is it using, comparative sales?
There's a list of comparable sales in here, but there's also calculations based on
income.
second floor, 2 apartments, $1,850 per month, 1 vacant, $225 per month asking, that's a 3-bedroom, and then, yeah, so there's both in here.
So the
Okay.
comps are mixed use, residential and retail?
Tricky one.
commercial?
The comp,
Carol.
yeah, I can bring it down there.
Stand corrected again. Second floor,
What did I say?
2 apartments, 1 2-bedroom, and 1 3-bedroom. I
Oh, okay.
apologize.
It's all right.
Without reading the
That's all
rest of
Being
it.
so flighty about it.
It's all right.
It looks like he came up with figures for both. For the sales, the 2 Black Rock Turnpike sales reported per square foot value. They're all Blackwood, 2 on Black Rock Turnpike, 1 Kenwood and 1 Harbor Avenue. So you wanna see the comp?
Actually, he handed it to me
Oh,
too.
you got it, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
You wanna see?
Yep.
Okay, and this company is out of Bridgeport,
Yes,
Baldwin.
they do commercial and residential, sales and appraisals. The principal is George Shawa, who's a realtor and appraiser.
Okay, okay, and this says 764,
Yes, so I think what we did.
not
was
That's
we
what I just said.
adjusted
Oh, I
the-
thought you said 754. Gotcha. Okay, well, this looks pretty, in-depth.
That's what he got, the 764. Joshua.
All right, well, we'll go through it when we,
Thank you.
when it scans in. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm good.
We're keeping this for the file.
Yeah, we have to put it on top, right, for Ross to scan in, I think.
You wanna put a sticky
Yeah.
on it?
I've just been putting stickies saying please scan.
Okay.
Carol, can you scan to me, I can't get in, it's not opening.
This?
File, the Excel spreadsheet on the.
Yes. Well,
trying,
it should be in your sent file, because you sent it to me, but yeah, I'll
well,
check
I know, but I'm trying to search it, something just is not
that. Sure.
getting it.
Should we move on to the next
Are you
one?
guys good with the next one?
Yeah.
Yep, ready to go.
So, so it is, 5:20 PM. And so the next one is, just again, correct me if any of this is wrong. That clock, including the clock, not the
Sure.
clock, we know the clock's wrong. But, it's appeal number 39. The property address is, 1019 Fairfield Beach Road. The owner of the property is Thomas Gannum. The town has the property valued at $1,690,300. And we have an ask amount of $850,000, but I'm guessing you're gonna wanna either, that might be assessed, or else you might wanna change that if you have
I wanted to change it to 800,000,
assessed or appraised.
appraised. And I do have an appraisal, with an explanation.
Okay, so 800,000 appraised,
Yeah,
okay.
so I do have an appraisal on that property. And I think and you're welcome to have a copy of that. That is also done by Baldwin Pearson. That house, as of the date of the appraisal,
Okay, and let me just,
sure, I'm sorry.
yeah, that's okay. Let me just have you sign this one too, because this
Sure.
is just for the separate, for the second one. Right.
Thank you.
You were here.
It's just, what is wrong with this Wi-Fi?
Thank you.
Okay.
What's he signing? Kathleen, what are we signing? I don't know, we're doing that yesterday, that's why I'm asking.
Oh, I thought we had them signing when they were sworn in,
Yeah,
and that they
I
were,
was having them
and or
sign
that
it.
they were here, so.
Oh, I was
they
just
were
having
here,
it
okay.
sworn.
He
Yeah,
doesn't have
yeah.
to be sworn in.
No, he doesn't have to be sworn in,
Okay.
so, yeah, just that he was here. I can initial it, but I agree. And again, sorry, you're the appellant as well as the owner, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we're good.
Not getting this.
So do you want to present this? one
Sure,
as well, or-
just briefly, this is a appraisal that was done, on the property. I think the point is that the house had been torn down. I think during some of this taxable period, the house has been demolished.
When was
In
that
fact,
done?
I believe it was done in June of 2020. And this, I don't have the exact date. I don't have the exact date. This is a retrospective evaluation of the property as it sat, and it speaks to that. The retrospective value is as of July 1st, 2020. And in fact, if you look at the photograph on the front of it, it's a photograph of the house before it was demolished, and you can see that some of the windows are taken out. The house was rebuilt. So the basis of the appeal is that during the, as of the grand list, it was simply a land value of the property or a gutted and uninhabitable property. And if you look at the land value on page 2, it does have it as $800,000 for the
vacant lot?
land. Yeah. And it gives all the comps, et cetera.
Okay, so this appraisal says $1,150,000 on it.
Right.
Says the land at 800 and the building at 350 for a total of $1,150,000.
That's right, and that is reconstructing a retrospective of what the breakdown would be as of that date. But it was an unoccupied, the house was undergoing construction, then ultimately converted over to a tear down.
Yeah, I was just looking at your field card here. It does look like the demo dwelling was recorded, at least in the assessor's office, on September 23rd, 2021.
So it's pretty close. I'm sorry, I didn't know the
Yeah,
exact
no.
date, but I think the house was torn down, and then the appraisal, for the purposes of trying to establish some values on it was done going back and looking at the value of the structure versus the land. So, and the house has been completed, and it's awaiting, I think, some final inspections over there, so.
Okay, so the only thing, I'm looking at your field card,
Mhm.
so it looks like the assessor's office recorded it as 100% complete on October 1st of 2020. So even though we go back to, I mean, the way I understand it, and even though we go back to October 1, 2020, each year if you put improvements on it, then the value changes, so it would be whatever
Incremental.
the house looked like, right, October 1 of 2022,
I'm confused.
as if it had sold in October of 2020. So, I'm just,
That's a year later.
you know, I don't think we can not value the building at all.
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah, okay,
let
so
you,
maybe
you know,
not-
I thought it was a legitimate basis for bringing it before the board. The fact that it wasn't, either existing or complete or whatever, but, I'm gonna have you assess it in any fashion you see fit, but I thought it was.
When did he do this? Do you have a-
Again, so this one goes back,
I'm confused.
it says on the cover of it, as of August 3rd, 2020, and then, of course, the house was under construction until whatever point. And I'm not, I don't think there's a CO, are you saying that your
Is there a seal?
records indicate there's a CO there?
It says 100%, the field card says 100% complete, construction interior, 4-story structure, 100% complete, 10/1/2022.
Okay.
Okay.
And that the issue date, again, I don't wanna quote the
No, I know.
office wrong, but it says sort of that the issue date on the permit for completion was 1/18/2022, or maybe that's when the permit was first issued, and that the work is 100%, and they inspected it on October 1st.
So, I think that sounds right.
Okay,
January of '22 sounds right as the date when the permit was issued.
okay,
That sounds right to me. Prior to that, there was another construction permit for renovations issued.
right, I see
And then
that.
that
35%.
ultimately resulted in a contest about the extent of the renovations being done.
Okay,
So then the house was ultimately torn down and the application converted to a complete new house, which happened.
the 50% rule or whatever.
Correct.
Right.
And then somewhere along the line, but then it says, 10/1 as of that completion date.
Got it.
That I'll defer to whatever it says, but I understood that there were still a couple of things that needed to be completed there.
Okay.
Okay, but
Mhm. Okay, and this appraisal's dated August 7th, 2020 is when he actually did it. So he did this appraisal before you did the work, right?
he did this appraisal when there was nothing there anymore. I think the demo,
Oh, he valued the building.
correct, valued
Okay.
the building versus the, you know, as they typically do with the land and the improvements. But it was done, my memory is it was done after the house was
Okay.
torn down, or at least after it was gutted.
Yeah,
I
he
can't
said-
say exactly at this moment which one it was,
Yeah,
but I know the pictures show that there's windows pulled out, et cetera.
Got it, yeah, it says retrospective valuation as of July 1, 2020. So it looks like this appraisal is valuing the building on July 1, 2020, which may have been before the demo, right? So it's slightly, okay. You guys want to see, did you have multiple copies? or
No.
I didn't, and
That's okay, we can get it
Done a
scanned.
month
didn't-
before the demo.
didn't realize I'd be in front of several folks.
But then,
Yeah,
okay,
this is as of August, it was done as a retrospective as of July 1, 2020.
right.
But pre-reconstruction.
Yeah,
Right, this is in,
pre-new
when he
construction.
says, right, 350 on that appraisal, that is for the old, he's got a building value of 350, that's for the old building, from what?
Yeah, and so I guess my position would be that really the assessment should be based on the land. I'm trying to just figure out the time first. I'm gonna stop there, though.
Wait, I have a question.
Okay.
Because I'm getting confused about the dates. So, when he did this, the building was still up, and that was July 1st of 2020.
No. The appraisal was done August 7th, 2020. That's right? What I wrote down?
Well, this is
Yes,
assessed value as of
and no.
July 1st, 2020.
You probably
So
did
the
it,
first page of it says, as of August 3rd, 2020. When you go and look at the second page of it, it reveals that this is a retrospective valuation as of July 1st, 2020. As I sit here, I think the house was torn down by the time this was done, so that there was nothing on the land, and I think the photos, frankly, probably came off the MLS, and it was done by square footage and a reassessment of the house by photos. That's what I think. So my claim is that there wasn't a structure there to warrant the value that was assessed by the town, and that's my position.
Do you remember when the house actually came down? Or became uninhabitable?
I think that looks like that a permit was pulled to demo it, and I think the date that I just heard was September of
23rd,
20.
yeah, maybe
20.
the permit was pulled in April of 2021, and the type is DE for demo, and that the inspection date was 9/23/2021.
Right.
So
So
somewhere
the
in that
time period
window.
is pretty close. I don't know if that building was there or not there, but it was certainly gutted because the house had been
Right.
gutted out and being improved under a permit that predated the demo one. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sort of, yeah.
and so the reason for doing the appraisal was to figure out whether you were gonna hit the 50% rule for FEMA. Is
Yeah.
that the reason why you ordered the
Yeah,
appraisal?
to get a picture of what
What
this
it-
values.
In order to know what you could put in to go over the 50% rule, and at the end of the day, you knew you were gonna go over, so the building.
Well, we thought it was the easier road tearing the place down rather than
Right.
getting into that
It's tough.
discussion back and forth. So ultimately it was torn down in a new
And it's FEMA compliant now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to break it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
But I'm still not getting, there's nothing here.
Nice meeting you all, thank you.
Just clarify one more thing for me. The building, in 2020, was that building uninhabitable?
Yes,
There
in
was-
fact, it hadn't been inhabited. Gee,
Yeah,
Could I
do you
defer
have
to
the
whether
field-
the-
yeah, there's probably a copy of your field card in here too, let me just see. Do
Because
you
I
have
wanna
the field
say,
card?
I wanna say that a building permit was pulled in the beginning, either late 2019 or 2000.
Here's your card. Yeah, you can look, see the permit information there? There, that's what they have, see
That's what I'm trying
the
to
box 3/4 of the way down?
Yeah.
These are your permit lines. This is the day they do the inspection, this is the day they say the permit was pulled, if that makes sense.
So, June, change roof from dormer. Yeah, so to answer your question, the permit for the remodeling was pulled in June of 2020 by the builder.
Okay.
And the house was not inhabited before that, but certainly after June 15th, it was gutted. Whether or not
Okay.
it had begun to be gutted before that, while a permit was pending, I don't know the answer to that at the moment, but that's what I think.
And the reason I was asking is because you're asking for 800,000, saying that that's the land value, which is the appraisal said. But the building value in here is 350, so I guess my question was because if the house is uninhabitable, how's it worth 350? That's what
That
I
I don't know the answer to. All I know is what I,
No, that's why I asked the dates, because it would matter.
Maybe materials of some sort?
If you can't live in it,
Well, when was the last time it was occupied? Before it was,
I would say probably in the school year before that, which would have brought it to,
so it wasn't habitable at
Was
the
it
time, just
habitable and-
wasn't inhabited at the time that the demo.
it had not been inhabited, I don't have the answer to that at the moment. My best guess is it was probably inhabited in the academic year prior to it being, the permit being pulled. But I can't say that for sure at the
A lot of
moment.
those rentals are uninhabitable anyway.
Well,
Yeah, food and favors.
I guess what I was trying to get at, and that's what I was trying to get at, was it that it just wasn't inhabited, or really could you not live in there because the windows were out, it was gutted and all that stuff?
That's an elevator now.
I won't say, before the renovations began, it was certainly habitable. Whether I would live there or not is
And another
I mean,
story.
like utilities were still turned on
Yeah.
and all that.
yes.
Okay.
So that's my best guess,
Okay.
Rob. Going back and doing research, that's my best
Thank you.
guess on it. If I look back and found out something differently, I might say something different on another day, but that's what I think I know.
Right, but what we need to do as a board is we need to look at what the house looks like on October 1 of 2022, and then what would it have sold for what it looks like now on October 1st of 2020. So you've got a new structure on there, so we have to look at that structure as brand new. We can't look at the house that was there in 2020 because it's not there anymore.
But as of October,
Otherwise, you would go 5 years and never get taxed on your building, right? So that's not how it works. Every year, if you do improvements, we have to look at the house with the improvements as of October 1, 2020, but as if it was on the market in October 1 of 2020.
but I think the value as of October, as of October 1st, 2020, I think I agree.
2022 is what we need.
Why are we at 2022?
Yeah, that's,
Because this is the
He's appealing-
2020,
he's appealing
this is
the-
the grand list. This is the 2023 or whatever it is, grand list.
But he's appealing what the value was between 19 and 20, when it was valued.
But you can't.
Yes, you have to go back.
I think you do.
You have to
You
go
look at
back.
the market in 2020, the October 1, 2020 market.
Right.
But you have to look at what the house looks like as of October 1st, 2022, because this is the new grand list. Think about it. If somebody has a vacant lot and it's worth $800,000 on October 1st of 2020, and they put up a $4 million house on the lot, they don't go 5 years and not pay money on the house, the improvements that they made on the property. Now, we can go back and say, okay, on that lot, a $4 million house was worth what in October 1 of 2020, but we have to look at the house, the structure that's there in October of 2022, as if it had sold on October 1st of 2020. And every year, right, next year, we're gonna do the same thing, any improvements. So that's why, like the guy with the generator last night, he has a generator, so now he's getting taxed on his generator. He didn't have that last year, so that's why he got a change on his card. So we now start to look at what the house looks like now, but would have sold in October 1 of 2020.
Respectfully, though, I think that the way that is dealt with is when the permit is pulled and the improvements are done, then the assessor goes out as a basis, as a response
And that's
to
what the
the,
field card's saying, is he went on October 1 of 2022 to see the house, and he said it was 100% done.
but it's taxed in arrears. The grant, okay.
I don't
I'm
think,
gonna leave that, we'll leave that topic for another day, but I do think,
but so you just wanna make sure you have your ask amount right at 800.
I think I do,
Okay,
and I'm gonna stay by that, and I'll respectfully leave it to the board to make their
okay,
decision based on whatever they think is appropriate.
okay. And
Thank you,
somebody has the appraisal down there,
I do.
right? Okay, we'll get that in the file.
Thank you all, nice to meet you all, thank
And
you
of
so
course, you
much.
know that, you know how it works. We, next week we'll be deliberating, decide on the values, and then you'll receive a letter from the town
Yes,
saying whether or not we agree with it or didn't. And you know that if we don't agree, you can take yourself to court.
yes,
And I always would, if it were me.
yes, thank you so much, nice to meet you all.
Good to meet you.
You all
already. Wow, that took forever.
I'm sorry you have to look at that.
Get it.
It can't be a very pleasant day. And you look
Okay.
familiar, and you look familiar.
I think I've been in your office a
We're
couple times.
realtors,
I was-
so.
I was working- yeah, I was working with your brother on something,
Okay,
so you might have seen me there.
thank you, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
You too.
You want me to go down?
Yeah.
So we have the appraisal.
Oh, here we go.
Right here.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Hi.
Hi.
Hi. You look very familiar.
Me?
Yeah. Did you used to go to Culinary Arts
No.
for breakfast in the morning? No, okay.
I wish I did though.
Okay.
Like you spent the winter in Florida.
No, that's my office window.
Oh.
I don't
good.
match, my legs are very white.
Wow. That's nice.
Okay, so I'm just gonna, welcome to the Board of Assessment Appeals. You actually get all 5 members tonight, but I don't think I have the right. 679 Roland Road?
No, 348 Lakeview Drive.
Lakeview. Where is it here?
It's number 43.
Can I pull it out? This is the Ganem one.
43?
Oh, here it is. Okay, sorry about that.
That's right.
So the time is 5:41 PM, and I'm just gonna read some things into the record and correct them if any of them are wrong. Okay, so, your appeal number is number 43. The property address is 348 Lakeview Drive. The owners of the property are Jennifer and John Damon.
Mm-hmm.
The town has the property valued at $878,400, and you're requesting a reduction to $698,700.
Right.
Okay, great. And then the next thing I want to do is just confirm whether you're the appellant or somebody representing the appellant. So if you could state your name for the record.
Jennifer Damon of the
Okay,
appellant.
and let me swear you in. Who has the swear-in statement here?
Page 2.
There it is. Okay, so if you could just raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, great. So I just want you to sign that you were here. Today's the 8th. Sign on that line.
Sorry. Thank you.
He's clever enough.
Okay, and now's your opportunity
Okay.
to tell us, why you think the value should be, the $698,700 and not the value that the town has.
The house was demolished. I still currently do not have a certificate of occupancy, thank you to the utility companies. We purchased the house in '21. It's a modular home, so that would be my market as a buyer and seller. I purchased it from Westchester Modular Homes. And I also had read that there could have been a reduction in the assessment because there was no dwelling on the property for a couple of months. The house is up. I'm just waiting on utility hookups. There was no inspection because it was modular, so it wasn't required. And the purchase price that we bought it from Westchester Modular was $371,000, and I put in $400,000 on the building permit to cover for the foundation. And I found in the Board of Assessment Appeals handbook for the state of Connecticut that fair market value is defined as the amount of money for which a property may be exchanged within a reasonable period of time and under conditions in which both parties are willing, able, and reasonably well-informed, and that's for buyers and sellers. My seller was Westchester Modular. And I'm not willing to sell the home, so there is no market for it right now. And also the market is very unstable, with market manipulations with MLS and stuff like that, and you can't use MLS because that's not part of the state statute.
So who actually stole the money?
Her other son and daughter, yeah,
Huh.
yeah. They were in my grandmother's home, my aunt went into her home, took her copy of power of attorney, went to Bank of America, emptied all of her accounts,
Oh, my God.
and then came to town hall and took her house.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
That's unbelievable.
it, F is family, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you wanna see that?
So, and I had only noticed it because I went to go balance her checkbook for her, and it was negative, and I said, what the hell's going on? And that's when, yeah. So I called,
Did
you
they
know,
get-
Greg Patty? Greg Patty was the attorney, so we used him. They wanted to go through, my aunt's like, well, she needs a neurological evaluation, and my grandmother was 92 at this point, and she said it in front of Judge Caruso, she was funny, she's like, those sons of bitches took my last nickel. I'm not going in a car with any.
Good for her.
So we went to Yale, she had an evaluation, a geriatric evaluation, she was found of sound mind, and I said, if she's of sound mind, can she choose a conservator of her own will as voluntary, not involuntary, and that's what we did.
Good.
And then, we're not.
No, I was taking care of her. So, yeah,
Good for you.
Okay, so let's get back to,
yeah.
Can you have pictures of, because the field card picture shows the house before it was demoed, is my guess, right?
Oh.
It looks like a 1950s ranch
Yes,
or something,
yep.
I'm guessing it looks different.
Yeah, so it's just I don't have photos, it's just a center hall colonial that was modular home.
How many square feet, plus?
I don't even know, 2,900, I think.
Yeah, 2918, if that's the, is that the?
Yeah, whatever was on the building
Is
permit.
that, I don't know if that's the original one?
Oh, the original one was like 1,200 square
Oh,
feet,
okay.
yeah.
Well, then this is, oh, yeah, it's an upper story, so it's 2918.
I'm gonna ask.
Okay, yeah, according to the assessor's field card, they said that the house was 99% complete,
With no I have no utilities still.
as of July of 2020.
Right, because it was modular, so it was pre-built, wired and everything. I'm just waiting, you know, there was the hurricane in Florida, and all the utility poles went down there, and yeah, I've heard it all.
Okay. So, yeah, Paula looks like she came out January 5th, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it.
And I don't know if you want a copy of, my purchase agreement with Westchester, showing I paid $371.
Yeah, really.
So the only thing, I mean, the others can ask questions too, but I was just gonna say, usually what we try to do is to get to the market value of that property with the house that you have on it now, as of October 1st,
Mhm.
2020.
Right.
With the new house. So do you have any sales data or anything that sort of says, okay, if I had this modular house in October 1 of 2020 on this piece of property, what somebody would have paid for it?
No, because there's no modular, there's no comparisons. Everything is stick-built by builders. So my market, again, was Westchester and myself. That was my market.
Right, but resale-wise, is anybody else putting modular homes in Fairfield? We had one last night, that's why I asked that on the beach.
Very few, few and far between.
And we went modular because, it's less square footage, it's less to build per square foot.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you're not living in the house now?
No,
You have no utilities,
we have no
so
utility,
it's not inhabitable?
correct.
Okay.
I have no CO.
Gotcha.
Got it. Okay.
How'd you come up with the 698.7? Just curious.
So the cost that I put on
400.
400, and then the land value, on one of the assessments was 298.
their land says it's 347, the town's land value.
Oh, they went up again?
So you must have come up with that.
Yeah, it must have been on an older
Do you have a
one
field card?
before that.
Yeah.
I want to see what neighborhood she's in.
Oh, 2019, it was 298. That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, so now it's what, 347,
Right.
100,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Okay. And you said the house was
371.
371?
Mm-hmm.
What neighborhood are we in? Go the other way.
Oh, the other way.
Hold it right there. Neighborhood what? 85.
85.
Everybody has the numbers for 85, that's the only neighborhood.
What's that? Neighborhood 85.
So that comes to 718.
The whole neighborhood's changing,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Whole town has changed.
I know. I was born and raised.
Isn't
So
it
do-
sad? Isn't it sad, may I just say?
I went through every consolidation in schools, elementary and high school.
Are you presenting any documents that were not part of your original application that you would need to take,
I mean, I can give you, I just printed out the, statute 1264A with the reduction.
Let me just take a look at that.
Sure.
I see that, that's.
Oh, okay,
that's-
yep. Yep, and then, here is, you can have this, front copy of the agreement with Westchester. Right here on the upper portion is the price that I paid.
I don't think that's in here, right?
Okay, so let's
Yep.
take that.
Yeah.
May we take that? or-
Sure, do you want me
okay.
to circle where the price is?
Sure.
Okay. And then, I don't know if you want this from, the Board of Assessments handbook?
That's in the file already.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you very
you,
much.
have a great
Good luck.
night.
Hopefully you get utilities soon.
You and me both.
We deliberate next week and,
Okay, that's what
as
I
a group,
Yeah.
on everybody's, and then you'll get a notice thereafter.
Okay, great, thank
Started.
Yeah, I'm still in it.
But it just started.
The recording is started.
Did it just say it just started?
I stopped it and started it,
Oh, okay.
because I wanna watch it from here, but I'm not sure if
That's
this
not it.
control is separate from the
She's
other.
referring to that, I think she's.
You're online, right?
Imagine.
Yeah, I think
I think in this day and age, we,
Yeah,
from our-
oh, that's,
Keyboard.
oh, that's
Computer rather than.
terrible. Yeah.
I know, but when I hit record,
And then she,
in
all
WebEx,
that
it brings up the record and it.
Harriet.
Hi,
Harriet.
It doesn't talk.
You had
it's just
so much
the
fun
first sec.
yesterday.
so I came back. But this
Couldn't
is,
help yourself, huh?
this is a short year. Normally I do 5 or 6 in so that's my last one for the season. Because I do all the towns.
Yeah. You're all over the place.
Yeah, like you know what. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Okay, so, sorry, I've got Roland Road next on my file, so maybe I've got the wrong one.
Yeah, that's.
Nope.
Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
I emailed it Road, into, right? yeah.
Six seventy-nine
And I
Roland
emailed it
Road.
into the assessor today for them to print it out so you would have it, because remember yesterday?
Yep.
Yep. Hopefully you have
I
it.
know, we'll do it.
Okay.
What number is this, please?
So, yeah, I'm just gonna read some information into the record. So the appeal number is number 40. It is 5:55 PM. The appeal number is 40. The property address is 679 Roland Road. The owner of the property is Frederick and Alyssa Israel. The town has the property valued at $1,897,400, and you're being requested to a reduction of $1,700,000.
Correct.
Is that accurate? Okay.
That's
And
accurate.
I do have that the appellant who's going to be here is Alyssa Israel.
She's not coming.
She's not coming.
She
Okay.
asked me if I needed her here, and I said no. You know,
Did
it's
she
up to
give
her.
you, did she give you permission? Did she
Oh, my
sign a
God.
sheet for you to
If I-
be here on her behalf?
I'm sorry.
An affidavit? I'm just looking to see if there's an affidavit in here.
I made sure, I told them to make sure that
I
they.
see one.
You do? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I see
Yeah,
one
she
for
came
Liam
in- She
Birkin.
came in last week, I think, to do it.
Yeah, I see Liam Birkin there too. Okay.
Hold on, this is for,
There is one for
Liam
Liam
Burke.
in there, right.
and Alyssa.
Harriet Busker, I see it. Yep. So you're good. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you could just state your name for the record and whether you're the owner or you're here on the owner's behalf.
Yeah, my name is Harriet Busker, I'm a real estate appraiser, and I'm here on behalf of the owner, the Israels, located 679 Roland Road, Fairfield.
Okay. And then I'm just going to ask you to raise your right hand. I'm going to swear you in. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God. I do.
Okay, great. I'm going to just have her sign.
Do you guys have the appraisal?
I'm looking at it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Here? And you want me to put today's date?
Kathleen will do that.
Okay. Thank you. You
Go
tell
ahead,
me
yeah.
when to go. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it looks like you did 4.
Okay.
What, 4 comps
Uh-huh.
on this? Yes. You're all familiar, obviously, with Roland Road and the houses and all that. So, the reason I came in at 1.7 is because the value came in at 1.7. The subject compared to, for instance, comps 1, comps 3, and comp 3, the quality of construction is just, I wouldn't say average, it's good. However, it's not excellent. There are no bells and whistles in the construction of this home. It's just standard. There were no really upgrades to it, what you would expect or you see in a lot of the homes in Fairfield Beach area. There is an elevator. I couldn't find a comp with an elevator, so I had to adjust for that. And comp number 1 has water views. I adjusted for that. Comps 1 and 3 are excellent in terms of quality construction. What I do, and I probably told you yesterday, is I study the MLS photos, inside all the rooms inside the house, the construction, and that's how I determine what my adjustments are. And adjustments are a gray area. So there's no question in my mind about the fact that this is not worth $1.9 million. This is worth $1.7 million. I feel very, very comfortable with it. And I can go on, but if you have it's as simple as that. It's a simple one.
Water views are on what level?
Comp number 1, it's on, see, it says,
Comp number
view,
1 has it.
26 Edward Street.
I don't think 1 has it.
Yeah, they're not on the water, so
No,
it's
they just have views from the house,
from
right?
the,
Otherwise, it'd be waterfront, the
no, right,
adjustment
right,
would be tremendous.
I was just 50,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, just water views,
Yeah,
so,
yeah, okay. No, I like to,
yeah.
I'm always,
Yeah, I mean, it's
Adjustment.
really this is a very easy one. The other thing, though, that I was just noting while I was sitting here that I wanted to bring up to you guys is that this house only has 2.5 bathrooms. The other houses, right, that is an issue. And so any buyer coming in who's is gonna be in the millions
wait,
closer
what's
to
the square footage?
3591, and it only has 2.5 bathrooms.
Huh.
It's not en suite with a lot of these bedrooms, so that's gonna really cut the market down, why would I take this house?
It just has a hall bath and
Yeah,
primary.
yeah.
Their own bathroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's really important, and that really fed into a lot of my thinking.
So where did you adjust for that? I'm just curious. Or
I
what-
didn't, and
Oh.
going back to yesterday where I don't like to push it,
Okay, I
Do
see.
you know who built that?
I don't know who built it.
Do you remember?
But, yes, when I say of course, there's a bathroom adjustment for the number of bathrooms. I didn't give it additional adjustment because that's not typical to the neighborhood. So if you look at the room counts, you'll see, looking at comp 1, for instance, see where it's 11.6, 4.5 baths?
Yeah.
To the right is the adjustment. I
Okay,
give
so that's
$20,000.
in addition to the lack of other rooms.
Right, so I gave 20,000, and I wrote that.
Yeah,
Full baths adjusted, $20,000.
yeah, okay.
That really says a lot about what the market's gonna look for, And it's just average, in my opinion. It's not average, it's good in this area, but it's nothing special.
So I did notice that the first 3 comps were all built like 2007 and 2008.
Well, the first thing
What year was
I
this
do,
one built?
this is 2004, the very
14?
first thing I
Okay.
do is try to find identical comps. And if I can't, if they don't exist, then I have to go to the next level and do the best I can. However, the comps, the ones that are 2007, 2008, and then comp 4 being, comp 4, 2013.
Right.
And that adjusted to $1,711,000. And that has partial water views. I gave that minimal. It has 4.5 bathrooms, and it's, you see, it's 500 square feet larger.
So So really, the only reason that one's over is the elevator.
Yeah, exactly. That's
The lack of an
and it's got 2 more bathrooms and the lack of an elevator, right.
And it is FEMA compliant, right? The others are not, the other 3 are not FEMA compliant. 101 Rhoda is not, and 628 is not. So I know that adds value in the beach area, right, when you're elevated enough. So I don't know, do you adjust for whether they're FEMA compliant or
I
not?
did not adjust for that, no.
Okay. Do you know what the typical adjustment is for
I do
that?
not know. I do
How
not
do
know.
we, how do we know
they're
that?
not? I mean, just put it in.
Well, it's on the card, so
what card?
interestingly
Yeah, what
enough,
card? Because I have the field card here.
yeah, there's a FEMA compliant line
Let's
on the
see.
field card. Let me look here. Interestingly enough, 26 Edward, because we've seen these comps come up a lot, but 26 Edward was not marked FEMA compliant last time, and it just sold for $3 million, even though this one here is $1.8 million. It looks like it sold recently for $3 million.
Which one?
26 Edward resold
Is that on
for
the
$3
list
million.
here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. You know, the next go-around, these values are gonna be much higher, no question about that. But as of 2020,
Yeah.
this is what they were. So I'm looking at the subject. I'm looking at the subject, field card, page 1.
Do you go to
Would
the building section on the
Yeah.
backside?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me.
Okay.
If you have the back of the
Here.
card, see the FCPC, it
Okay,
says
compliant,
compliant.
okay.
Right.
The flood insurance that you pay, it becomes like more like $5,000 versus like $500.
There's a big
Right?
difference, but I don't know if it's $5,000. There's all different levels of flood zones, so.
Right.
Right.
They, I don't know what the zone is there, like,
Right.
how high in the air do you have to be?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
That
the
makes a
only
difference.
negative, is the insurance.
The insurance, but you know,
If
a
you
lot
pay
of-
cash, you don't need
Under
it.
the 50%.
Exactly, but I know a lot of homes that I appraised in the beach area over the years that were in the flood zone, the homeowners were telling me that they weren't paying more than, what was $600 a year, even though they were in the flood zone.
And they weren't compliant?
And what's wrong? What's wrong?
You know what?
Yeah, 'cause
What's wrong?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
The other part of the FEMA compliance is that you can't improve your property more than 50%. So if you spend more than 50% of the value putting it back into your house, you have to elevate it to FEMA compliant. Since 2016,
Right.
that's the way the town's been doing or running into
Okay.
it, right? So that's one of the reasons these older homes, 2006, 7, they have to be careful of what they put into it. They don't go over the 50%, and it's the depreciated value of the structure.
Okay,
So say a house is, valued at 700, depreciated to 500, they can't put more than 250 into it, or they gotta list it.
mhm,
So that's why the FEMA compliant houses, tend to sell, from what we've seen, that's value on a property.
that value.
Yeah,
And
any
a lot of
assessment.
these look like they, like this one on Edward.
How much you can pay?
None of these are, like, when we think about non-FEMA compliant, we think of a house that was built, 50 years ago, that's just on
Ground level.
on the property, ground level on the property. All of these seem to, they've all been lifted. But, like, for instance, this was built in 2007, so, it's not FEMA compliant to today's standard, but it has been raised, so there's a discrepancy in the height there between when this was built and how high it is and what the FEMA regulations are now, but I don't know that is making.
Yeah, if you look at all of the
It's not
comps, you
making a
see that
huge
they're,
difference in sales.
they probably are,
Did you
because
say
they're all
other
built
thing
high.
for $3 million?
26
Yeah,
Edward just sold
22.
for $3 million.
In
So,
22.
I'm just saying.
That was
so
the low
to show you
comp. I
that
saw
the
that
FEMA
comp
issue
all
is
the
not
time.
an issue.
Yeah.
And
22.
what street was it?
Your first comp, 26 Edward, almost everybody from the beach brought that comp in because we just called it the low sale because it showed up on everything.
I didn't even think of it as a low sale, I don't
I
think of
know.
it that
Well,
way, maybe a
I'm just saying,
homeowner does.
that's what
I
we
was just
saw.
using, because I felt it was comparable.
Yeah,
I wanted to
and it
say
just sold for $3 million, so that's why I'm wondering.
Well, because
why
you
did
see,
it
I
sell for
have under quality of
Because it's-
construction, excellent.
Yeah,
So that's why
That
it's
sold in
probably selling,
2020.
it's a high end of value, what?
yeah.
But that did sell in 2020,
Mhm.
so,
That sold in 2020, 8/3, August 3rd,
Yeah, for
Right.
1.9.
for 1,895, right.
I just want
but
to,
it has the water views, I'm sorry.
oh, that's good. I just want to clarify something about the flood, is it FEMA compliant, yes or no? The only way to know if it's FEMA compliant is for them to produce a flood elevation certificate. If they don't have one, we don't know if it's FEMA compliant or not, no matter how old it is, or how new it is. If it's
So
new,
when
it's
they
FEMA.
put FEMA compliant on the field card, that's
I don't
all,
know where they got that from.
you know,
Because if there's no, unless, you can't force somebody to get one, you can't force somebody to show you one. So you really have no right to say it isn't, because just looking at the height of it, you have no idea.
well, that sort of, Paula, thank you for that.
In the
'cause that
zoning department,
sort of
I'm pretty
confirms.
sure.
But it doesn't matter, without that flood elevation certificate, you have no way of knowing how high that house is.
Right, but then you don't get the pricing on your flood insurance because you're not not registered with the building department as being FEMA compliant. So if you're registered with that, you can get a bigger discount on your federal flood insurance. That's my understanding.
I have to
If
check on
zoning,
that,
the
I
zoning
never-
works with all, it's all done through FEMA and through zoning. So that's why all the houses that went up after Sandy, right? They were improving their house by more than 50%. So they all elevated to the 2012 standards, and now they're listed as FEMA compliant. They went through the process.
Mhm.
They're getting discounts on their insurance. You're right. So somebody could go down and ask zoning to do that, then they'd save money on their flood insurance.
Mhm.
And someone would look at the property and say, oh, I'm buying a house that I can put as much money into it as I want and not have to hit the 50% rule, right? So,
Sometimes in the agent notes, they comment
Right.
about the flood insurance. I'm just curious if any of those MLS comments, because sometimes they'll say, oh, it's, it's $3,000, it's transferable to the new buyers. I was just curious.
And I mean, people are getting
Did it
flood
say
insurance
anything like that?
every day without an elevation certificate.
Yeah, it's more expensive without it, but.
Well, it depends on where you go. If you go to a private,
Mhm.
you gotta, and if you're in an area where you've never had water, if you're in that first block, for instance, since you never had water, you're gonna be able to get a lower, premium.
but I think the price.
Well, what are we arguing here?
No, I'm not arguing, I'm just.
Yeah.
I think the question to me was, should I have looked into this?
Okay.
Is that the question? to
Yeah,
me?
so my point was, did you?
No, I did not look
consider that
into, I
when you
did
did
not,
your
because
appraisal?
typically, and I don't know any
That's a good point
appraiser
to me.
who's we've ever talked about that, or even in all the classes we've taken, and I've taken 28 hours of classroom every 2 years for the past 40 years, and it's never been raised as an issue. And
I'm
I've
just saying,
taken-
the assessor tracks it on the card, and, they have computer-generated models, right?
I hear what you're
When it's
saying.
set to that, he adds value for that, so there's some reason why he adds value for
Because he
FEMA
does whatever he
compliance.
wants.
Yeah.
But from a sales perspective,
Yeah.
You don't
I'm
think
not-
people care whether a house is FEMA
Well, first of all,
compliant?
you're paying $2 million for a house.
the only way they
Well,
care is if you're
well,
ground
Well,
level.
if it's sold for $3
Yeah,
million,
that's
nobody
what they
gives a
care.
shit.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
Exactly, that's, if you're dealing with houses in the $200,000 to $300,000
And now it's
value,
higher.
yeah, that
11
makes a
feet,
big
14
difference.
feet.
What was the
Yeah.
list price?
Exactly.
What was the list
Sort
price
of
on
common
it?
sense, you
I'm
know?
just curious.
I mean, what was the list price?
What was the list price?
For when? The last,
The latest sale that just took place
oh,
on Edward.
that was, 3.2.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it sold for 3.
Oh,
Yep.
God.
It's a qualified sale.
Crazy.
It's sick, and I don't know when this is gonna stop. I really,
Worse now than it was.
what do you guys think?
Psychotic.
What do you think? What's gonna
I'm
happen?
hoping every day that it starts to go down, but,
Still not enough
although I
inventory.
will say, I was in Stamford last week, and, I was looking at sold, because I was putting an offer in.
Right.
And, I noticed that in that price range was I did 8 to 950. All the houses that sold in the last 3 months,
Yeah,
slightly under asking.
really? Okay.
There's still
And
bidding
how long
war.
were they on the market?
Not long.
And under asking?
Unfortunately, the
Well,
one we went for.
I had 2
went-
this year already,
No.
that, multiple bids under asking.
Good. Okay.
But I still say that's rare in Fairfield.
In Fairfield.
Most people are going crazy in Fairfield.
Yeah.
But you go to Milford and multiple bids, but they may go 30,000 over. They're not
I'm going to
going,
Milford
they're not
tomorrow
going
to do
100,000.
I'm researching it, and it's all over the place in
Yeah,
Milford.
yeah,
Milford's crazy right now.
I know it.
Prices are.
I know, I'm appraising 1,000 square foot home tomorrow. It's worth $350. 1,000 square feet.
Wow.
And a couple of,
And it's not on the
pandemic-
water.
Before the pandemic, I sold one that was about 1,000 square feet, needed work, and that was they paid $218, I think. And it was near the beach, wasn't it?
This is off New Haven Avenue near the West Haven line that I'm doing in a nice little neighborhood.
Yeah.
Woodmont area, yeah. The $350 for tiny little house size of this room, you know, it's crazy. Anyway,
Any other questions?
yeah.
Harry, thank you for coming. Always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to see you
Thank
too.
you, Paula.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think I'm tired.
You're welcome, Elaine, anytime.
I am. Okay, well, it was nice to see you, and I thank you for listening to me, and,
Our pleasure.
I'm sure I'll see you next year.
No, say next year.
Okay,
Well, maybe you'll see you around.
or we'll see you around
Yeah.
town. Exactly.
And there's nothing new going in the file, right? Oh, it's all here. We got it already. Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
it's Liam.
Where?
Nobody was there downstairs.
Okay. Who's next, though?
What time are we on, 6:20, or, 6:20 is the next one?
Oh.
So she was 6 o'clock?
It's 56 Fairfield Beach Road.
Oh.
Liam Burke?
5650. I can tell you a story.
What time is that one?
That's the one. That my crazy client.
6:20.
Okay.
What? Years ago, my crazy client owned that. And there was a big problem. She started drinking. The house wasn't finished. It was a nightmare. So Pam, Terry, and I go over there to look at the house. She was there. I went in. Out of line. In the bedroom, she made a bedroom for herself. 30 underwear on the floor in the bathroom. Terry was dying.
What was up?
The lubricant stuff.
Ah!
But wait, Terry was dying.
What the hell?
He's with Pam and I. And he was like all freaked out. Oh, what's going on?
Oh, God.
His face was all red.
water.
I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say too, this one did go to court. If you look at the field card, the 679 Roland, as did the next one.
Oh.
They took it to court last year, but apparently, I asked Ross, does that mean that because they went to court, we can now hear them this year? And he said they missed a certain filing deadline or something. So they tried to go to court, but they didn't get something in time.
Oh,
So the
okay.
court dismissed it. So it sounds, he believes that it's okay that they're coming back again. But they did go, and the same with the next appellant, did go to court. That's, I think,
Is Liam representing this next one?
well, Liam was on that one. That's what Ross's spreadsheet had, at least.
Yeah.
They had Liam, but Harriet ended up coming.
Yeah, but I mean, I see
No,
on
I don't
the
know.
next one,
The address is
56.
56.
And that's why, because
Fairfield
Liam
Beach
brought
Road,
them
but I
to
don't know
court.
what the number of the
I
deal
think.
is.
right, but this next one, number 44, it
Number
looks like
44.
Liam, the contact. I don't know if he's coming tonight.
What do they want?
Let's see, the town has it at 917. Yes, it is Liam.
It is Liam.
See you about the whole thing's here.
My, how things have changed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not revalue.
Hey.
Are you ready for me? Or do you-
Yeah.
You want-
No, the
Oh, we're ready.
1,283,700. 1,283.
What appeal is 44?
44.
And then he's one.
Are you good? You want me to read our stuff into the record?
117.
So this is appeal number 44. The time is 6:15 PM. And Liam, I'm just going to read some information into the record. Just correct me if any of it's wrong. Appeal number is 44. Property address is 56 Fairfield Beach Road. The owner of the property, owners are Brendan and Aaron Biggins. The town has the property valued at $1,283,700. And you're asking, the ask amount is $1,170,000.
Right.
Is that right? Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record and whether you are the appellant, the owner, or here on behalf of the owner.
I'm here on behalf of the owner. I'm William Burke of 1432 Post Road, Fairfield. I'm an attorney. I didn't realize I'd have the whole board, but nice to see you. Thank you for your service.
We're just going to have you sign that you were here, even though.
Okay.
Thanks.
can't.
Oh, not again.
Thank you.
Or,
Yeah.
Can't open the file.
I was better off in my own house, this is crazy.
Here's the owner's affidavit if you need them.
Maybe. Probably doesn't hurt. There are some appraisals in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like there's one already scanned in, right? Yeah, so I can put him in the back, but I won't ask him to rescan.
Oh,
So you're good to go. As you know, this is your opportunity to tell us why you think the value of the property is not the value the town has on it, but the $1,170,000 that you're requesting.
Right, thank you. So this property was actually, refinanced, and there was a refinance appraisal done just within 60 days of your target date. And that came in at $1,172,000. And that was not done for purposes of this board, but it was done for refinance. So, as part of the ordinary course of business, and for a bank that was gonna put down money on it. So there should be a copy that I e-filed, but I have a copy with me if you want it.
Sure, I'll take a look.
Okay.
Oh, I remember this house.
And, I mean, that's the most significant factor is it was done by a certified appraiser.
What are the sales of that appraisal, the comp sale, timeframe?
I'm looking.
I see 634 Beach Road, right? Sold in April 2020 for $1,000,001.
Okay.
Built in 2001, 3,600 square feet. 345 Roland Road, sold December of 2019 for $1,000,002. Built in 1935, 2,700 square feet. And then 97 Carlin, right, April 2020 for $1,000,003.
How many comps are there?
I believe there's 4 comps.
And then I didn't write down the fourth one.
East one is the last one.
$3,500. So this is just a reno and it was listed.
That was, no, that was,
It says 150, right? 1950, I mean?
oh, then they probably didn't change the foundation. I sold them the house, but
Oh.
before they did it over, but I don't remember exactly what they did, like how much of it they took down and put up. Anything like this? Want to see this?
Yes.
Not these people, I sold the people who owned it before.
Right, I don't think,
I mean, it just doesn't look like a 1950 house.
It's not, it was
so-
a little,
No.
cute little cottage.
So they must have raised it to
Yeah.
do the
I don't know what they did.
remodel was
Well, there was
done
a fire in
in
there, so I don't know how much of it they were able to keep.
2009.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. New construction, 2002, I would say they put second, must have been a ranch or something.
It was a cape, it was,
Oh,
it was cute, it was like an old-fashioned looking cottage.
yeah, okay. So the big thing was done in 2005, a little bit more.
Yeah.
And, well, no, just the siding was re-added in 2009, so, all right, so it's not.
And the homeowners purchased it, looks like 2017 for $1,000,001
Right,
I
right.
think that's,
And they also had an appraisal done then that came in.
when they bought it.
Yeah, that came in at $1,150,000.
I wouldn't.
The 2017 appraisal came in
Yeah.
at $1,150,000.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. And that used 7 comps.
Wow. Is that the old appraisal?
Yeah. that's
Okay.
the other one.
Oh, I think that might be in here too. Ravis, yeah, 2017.
Yeah.
Beach.
that's right across the street from the beach club.
Do you
Yeah.
know which of the comps they think is the best comp sale or anything?
I assume the first comp, would usually be
The
the,
634 Beach Road.
I don't even know if they have water, well, I think they do have water views from the second floor.
Yeah, this might be one of the people that was complaining because when the club put the roof deck on.
Oh, yes, that's
Do
it.
they have water views?
they have,
used to.
right,
Yeah, one
right,
time they
they
did.
have unobstructed, because there's a fence that's just about 10 feet with a, hedge that's about the same height, and then you have the court, and then you have this,
They're across from the beach club.
they're across from the beach club. There's the main beach club, building, and then there's a building with a
The
square.
junior house, and
The
we put a roof deck on.
Yeah, yeah,
And that was the end of the view.
and, yeah, it's like a squarish building.
Yeah.
Yeah, with kind of a.
Bunch of umbrellas.
Yeah, yeah.
We
And-
thought they would like the look of the umbrellas.
Better than the look of the water, I don't
Versus
think
another
so. Oh, the roof, okay.
So they have, you know, if you stand on your tippy toes, you can kind of. So I get a ladder and put it on my deck at the Mosswood. I have a view of the sound.
And it's not FEMA compliant, doesn't look like, right? I don't think so. Or the field card didn't say.
I think, well, it was FEMA compliant, I don't know if it still is.
Because they did raise it. They raised it and they're talking.
Right, but prior to 2012, when they changed all of the regulations, all the,
Detailed than the bank.
Yeah, it is, because it's for a different reason.
Yeah.
yeah.
They don't go out of their way. They get what they have to get, and that's it.
Yeah.
The appraisal says 1,172,000, and they're asking for 1,170,000.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna forget about this.
Probably whatever they fill, I just wanna make sure whatever's on the form is accurate.
Okay,
Well, I mean, you can change it for them if you want.
sure,
You wanna change it to match the appraisal?
sure,
Okay.
happy to.
You wanna initial that change just since they're not here. There's an ask amount on the minutes.
Actually, I'm kind of surprised that they asked for 1,172,000. I don't know why they would have used comparable sale one, because that is the lowest of all the values. So they didn't take that one into account much at all. 1,172,000 happens to be the second comparable. Same day, the bank. Okay, I'm always intrigued by looking at these, thank you.
Sure.
One of those has to get scanned in, I guess. I don't
No,
know.
I've been looking at it on.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just gonna ask you, because it looks like it went to, because the field card says it went to court last
Yeah, there
year,
were
right?
some
And
complications on that back here.
so we're back here, so it didn't, it's
Didn't.
not like the court's ever decided,
No.
right? Okay. So you can come back here. Do you have to, and then if you wanna go to court again, you can?
We can,
You can, okay.
and we will. Hopefully, we don't have to. Do you have any other questions?
I have no question.
Okay.
No?
No.
Oh, I thought you said you had a question.
No, I said I don't have any
Oh,
questions.
you don't,
Yeah,
I thought,
yeah.
okay, so I thought I.
We should, you said, I don't have any.
I don't have any questions.
Yeah. Thank you.
I thought I saw someone.
No, that was somebody that works here.
Oh.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
for coming out in the winter.
You missed this
Thank
shop?
you.
Used to be in here.
I used to be in here. The table was different there.
Yeah, that's right, they had the big old, oh, no, they had them.
We had like
This
a
is
horseshoe,
brand new.
yeah.
Yeah, this is brand new, it used to be a big square, they had two pushed together, they were really big and heavy. Remember, they were,
Yeah.
big old cherry tables. Wonder if they found their way.
Well, we were hearing it individually back then.
Yeah, this is a first, I mean, since we have 38 maybe, so we figured we might as well try them.
Yeah, no, it's a good, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it'll make deliberation go faster.
Is that the
No.
first one?
No, the third.
See?
Oh.
Time will tell.
As well.
Kathy was laughing too.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
I honestly
Who
don't
did
know why
that?
it was lower.
By the way, who did that appraisal? Do we notice?
Oh, it was a
I
bank.
didn't notice.
Oh,
Oh, it was the bank.
They
right?
don't go out of their way, that's the problem.
That doesn't make any sense to me. It should have been
Yeah,
No,
lower.
it should have been.
yeah, the
Whatever.
big difference between
a bank appraisal for refinance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, yeah.
They
A
wanted
lot
it
of
to be
them, a lot
higher.
of times they don't even go out and look.
Yeah, they just drive by, sometimes I don't even bother.
Let's see, and refi is different from a home equity. A refi is just basically to,
Oh, no.
Right, it is different, yeah.
Nicole Daly. Oh, hope she's not related.
One of your cousins, Elaine?
it's a long lost cousin.
One lost cousin from
Oh,
Brady.
shoot, we were
I've
supposed to
met
ask
her
her,
before, actually.
we were gonna ask her,
Oh, we didn't ask her, yeah.
what were we gonna ask her? Yeah, I can text her, what were we gonna ask her, I forget. Oh, right.
Six.
Oh my God, I'm not even. Harriet, doesn't she look good?
She looks good.
I think
Yeah,
her
some of
hair is
Yep.
light or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe just refreshingly.
She looks more refreshing than stuff over with Todd.
So, you missed Greg Lane last night. He looks absolutely amazing. He shaved his mustache, got a whole new set of teeth.
Wow.
He looks like a
$65,000
new man.
Really?
Like, it's unbelievable.
That's probably why he's going back and forth. Insurance busting his ass to pay for his teeth.
Oh, no.
Well,
I'm glad.
I just can't
I didn't know
believe
that. Nobody told me that. I won't be getting those.
I mean,
On the plane.
sad
I'll be
story about
last
those
week.
Americans that were kidnapped, but, the story today was like, the wife of one of the guys.
Died.
No, anyway, he was with, no, I think he was with one of the women who survived. And the wife, but the story was she went down to Mexico to get a tummy tuck. So now the wife is like, who were you with getting a tummy tuck?
Nope, you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, now they're telling students not to go down on spring break.
They'll go anyway, you know them.
Yeah,
Where, to where?
Mexico.
It's spring break.
Not bad, huh?
Well,
I remember like
You
spring
never
break.
come across mine.
I don't know why somebody would drive across
Yeah.
Mexico in a minivan at some, occupied by,
UHF
cartel. It's just,
or.
Yeah.
And there were warnings, I mean, it's not like there haven't been warnings to say don't travel there.
they were
Well, that's
just
like-
sitting down.
Just like the other one that they got released from, Russia. Why do you go to a foreign country and do something that gets you
Oh,
in
yeah.
trouble?
Oh,
Yeah,
the girl
right.
who got,
Yeah, I mean, why would you do that in
You
a
know,
foreign country? What's the matter with you?
I felt the same way, but everyone felt so sympathetic
I
to
didn't, I
her.
felt no sympathy
Because
at
they
all.
kept saying her mother died and she needed her marijuana. I'm like,
No.
but like,
And that's a reason to smoke marijuana?
you
because your mother
can't
died.
take it into that
Really?
country. Thank you, I felt the same
Same
way.
way. Like, you deserve to get
I
caught,
mean,
you
they
deserve to
such
go
a
to
big
prison.
deal, it's like she
Well, she was some big rock star.
did something criminal.
No, she did do something criminal.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, oh, they made such a big, but yeah,
I'm just gonna take these.
not to worry, we got her back.
We're good,
Neither
we're
one.
good.
Do you adjust
Yeah, the other
the
four
value
guys
of
go there.
modular versus standard?
I mean,
What
let's
do we
face
call
it,
it? Stick
if
and-
you had a choice
stick
to
and
bring
mortar?
somebody back, wouldn't you pick the drug
Yeah,
dealer, the
absolutely.
pain in the ass drug person?
No
Or the
question.
American hero? Who'd you
No
pick?
question.
Yeah, I'd go for the drug person every day.
Yeah, is that, I mean, I didn't think that was, Carol, I was just listening to you. Is that actually a difference between modular and
I was
stick?
asking Harriet, I forgot to ask her.
And actually-
I was just saying, do you ever come across them, and if so, do you adjust?
And I wonder if that's why, I'm thinking that that's the point she was making about why she can't use the MLS information. Because they're usually stick-built regular homes. Very, very, very few modular, so.
No, she was, that had nothing to do with the modular.
I thought that's
It
what she was
like-
getting at. We
I
can't
didn't
use that.
understand what she
We
was
can't
saying.
use those comps because you're not allowed to use, I never saw that written in the statutes or the BAA handbook. I don't know where she got that story from. I think she misunderstood.
And she said it's a very volatile market, and you can't
Um,
go by anything on MLS. I was like,
Yeah,
what?
that's her own theory. Well, actually, I understand part of it now that I think back. The market is volatile and that it's going crazy. Maybe that's what she meant. And she read that passage about, which I always think about, was that what's fair market value? And it's the price somebody will pay, and you have to have willing buyers. It's supposed to be in a non-stressful, like you're not supposed to be like forced into it. Well, if you need a house, and if you have to get a house, you're gonna be forced to overpay, because you gotta live somewhere.
Yeah, but it's almost like what I understood her to say is that she wasn't
she was only interpreting who's the seller and who's the buyer as to her and the person who
Right.
sold it to her,
Right.
versus
And I think,
sellers and buyers in theory.
yeah, and maybe it's because it's a modular home, and how many, not everybody likes them, and she was just trying to make her, I didn't really understand
I
it.
sold a modular home, in Westport for, on the water, and it was, almost 3 million, and it was old, it was from like 2000
Wow.
and.
It just says, Greg,
You know which houses are modular?
I never knew it was.
I have a
The two,
friend
I can tell you
who,
which ones they are.
that's
You
all he
wouldn't know,
does is
so look at
modulars and
The two
builds them
on
all
North Benson Road.
up and down this whole
fascinating
coast.
to
The
watch.
corner of
Yeah.
Marshall.
Well, actually, my house
Coming
is
from downtown.
modular.
If you're coming from downtown, going up
Yeah.
North Benson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to the
Yeah,
corner
I
of
think it's a
Barnesmere
great
Drive.
way to go.
Well,
Across
the top,
across from
the-
Reed Street. On
second
that
floor.
corner,
Yeah.
1, 2, they face North
On the
Benson.
Yeah, they bring.
On the
the-
left, when you're going
Yeah.
towards the
Yeah.
Rockland Turnpike.
Yeah,
We
sure.
lifted it up over my neighbor's house,
Yep,
like,
Wow,
it's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
those are modular.
You really have to know what you're doing.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I didn't think it made any difference. I mean, that home in Westport, I think was, my jaw dropped, because I just imagined modulars being one way.
Yeah, the old, the idea that everybody had about it.
I mean, there was columns,
Well, this one did too, it had
Yeah.
arches, columns,
Yeah.
pillars,
pillars,
beautiful
yeah,
trim work.
yeah.
But of course, they had to cheap out somewhere, so they had crappy kitchens. But that hasn't a reflection of the modular, because you could get a crappy kitchen in any house. That had nothing to do with it being modular.
Yeah.
They were just cheap.
I kept expecting to see like, were there gonna be like settling cracks, or
You know what, we had.
maybe they have less settling.
We had those houses on the market for like 2 years, and I never, the only thing I saw was a separation where the
You
crown
did?
molding meets the ceiling.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any cracks anywhere.
Well, maybe they caulked them.
Then there was the issue when the buyer wanted
She
to
brought pictures
have
of
the
their
water
house.
line hooked up to the refrigerator. So the builder got the plumber from Greenwich that had done the other work.
Which one?
Something up.
Oh.
He was crimping the pipe, he put a hole in it.
Colonial,
Then nobody's living in the house.
3,000 square feet.
So it leaked for a couple of days, and then the builder's son said, you know, we should go check the houses. They opened up the garage door, water came pouring out.
The condo we
They had
had
to
last
redo
night
all the
was
floors on
also
the main level.
modular.
It was disgusting. The whole downstairs was finished, rip it all out and start again.
That happened to the house I sold on Governor's Lane on the 3rd floor.
Oh, great, so it comes through the whole house.
It was apparently a $3 plastic piece
That's what this was,
Crap.
a piece of crap thing.
that goes in the toilet
Oh.
that had corroded and broke, and it was empty for weeks and weeks, and it dripped all the way down into the
Did you
kitchen.
try out the
It
new,
was almost like $400,000 insurance.
Matt?
No, I didn't
There's
actually.
a house in Westport that happened
Is it,
to,
that was,
it's on the market now.
I did log in, but I
Carrie,
didn't try to go and look at the properties. I'm assuming it's,
No, not Terry Seki, Richard Klein, Terry Klein has it,
Oh.
remix. And, they had just finished doing a whole new kitchen, everything, redid the whole house. And it was the day before the closing, and Carrie said she went to the house.
The day before.
Well, that's what this one,
She
too, it was a couple of days before the
She heard
closing.
the alarm going off, she said
Showing
she
the
opened the door, it was raining inside, it was raining. And so, that didn't happen, that was a New York buyer that did buy it. Oh, man, it's back on the market now, $1 million more. It's like, no.
That's like,
You got
when
the
I-
Chubb
when I-
insurance and it's not worth $1 million more.
when our car got stolen for 2 years.
For 2 years?
Yeah, remember, didn't I tell you the
No.
story when we were doing motor vehicles?
No.
Yeah.
Kind
Our car got stolen for 2 years, and I wanted to kill Hugh because he left the keys in the car, and the night before I said, they're starting to hit our neighborhood.
Better take 'em.
Our neighbor got his computer stolen, yada, yada, yada. Oh, no, don't worry, because he was living in a condo at the time across New York City. Oh, I'm right near the police station. No one's going to steal a car.
Yeah, right.
The next day, the car's stolen.
This might
Anyway,
be
it took 2 years.
done.
And I was so livid.
Can't really
And then we
tell.
finally get it back, we got a call from the police.
You know,
saying
the
it's
aerial
in
looks-
a warehouse in New Haven. When we get it back,
It doesn't look like
sure
that.
enough, the value had grown because of COVID.
Oh,
We
neat.
sold it for more. It's so close to him. He's like, nah.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hi.
sporting appointment?
Yes, come on in.
Come on in. See if I'm working?
Here.
Sure, anyway.
so I'm actually gonna read some stuff into the record. Welcome to the Board of Assessment Appeals. If you're lucky tonight, you get all 5 of us, so you get to talk to all 5 members.
Great.
The time is 6:36 PM. And I'm just gonna read some things into the record, if you can correct any of them if they're wrong, okay? So your appeal number is 49. The property address is 1263 Brookline Avenue. The owners of the property are, Sammy?
Yes.
And Nosheen Sayo?
Yep.
Okay, the town has the property valued at $607,100, and you're requesting a reduction to $577,000.
So I understood the policy more, kind of after I submitted this form. 577 was the purchase price, based on the research I did, during that time and then after as well. That's what I wanted to share with you today.
Okay, so one more thing, before we start that, if you can just state your name for the record, whether you're the owner or you're here on behalf of the owner, and then, I'm gonna ask you to raise your right hand so I can swear you in.
Sure, my name is Sammy Sayal. I'm the owner of 1263 Brookline Avenue in Fairfield.
Okay, great. So can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, great. Kathy's just gonna give you this to sign. Okay, and now you're good. So, if you want to change that after now, is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'd like to
Different
change
values?
that, and then just
Okay.
based on the research I did and based on the information that I've gathered, since I've been living there for the past year and a half. Okay. And should I just pass these out
Sure.
to you, or okay? I'll keep one for myself and two.
Pass one down, we'll do this one.
Okay, so.
This is now your opportunity to say why
Sure,
you
yeah.
think the
So-
market value is different than what the town has.
So, from my understanding, the market value that the town of Fairfield has is based on October 2020. Is that correct? Okay. So, based on the second page, the house was on the market all throughout 2019, and they originally listed it from $595, and it didn't sell. And by the time it got to October 2019, it was listed at $499. It still didn't sell. And then it went for as a rental property. Someone rented it for about a year until I purchased the home. And I think the reason why it didn't sell at the higher price is on the first page I have a few bullet points. The reason why it is a high traffic area, it's on the corner of Brookline Avenue and Brookline Terrace. So Brookline Avenue, the house sits across the street from the Bridgeport line. And so that intersection is kind of a throughway from Park Avenue to cut through into like Capitol Avenue and to the other parts of Bridgeport. And so I figured this out after we moved there. It's a really high traffic area. And the other thing is that it's a 4-way stop sign. So that the reason is because of the increased traffic. A few things I've experienced is that if I had to call the police for any reason, if there's an accident or something happened across the street, if I call Fairfield Police, they say you have to call the Bridgeport Police. If I call the Bridgeport Police, they say, unless it's life or death, we're not going to come out right now. And so we experienced these things a few times where across the street there's like middle of the night, there's like, what do you call it, cars racing or drag racing, and it happens a lot in some of these smaller inside streets right across the street. And I've called the police in the middle of the night. They said, sorry, we can't come out, even though it's right across the street. The Bridgeport Police said, sorry, we can't. So, we pay a high amount of taxes here, but we don't get the same type of, I understand why. It's because it is across the street, and it's kind of right over the border. So that's the unfortunate part of living on the border there. The other reason is that, when I moved into the house, we bought the house based on the information that was published on, Realtor and Zillow about the house had a advanced, hot water heating system. It's called a
On demand?
Yeah, on demand. So I guess it's a really expensive system. And we bought the house. It was working fine for a few months, and then it started leaking. And then we We called a plumber in, they couldn't fix it because it's a really high-tech system. We finally called a company from Fairfield, and I had the estimate on, I think, page 4. It was about almost an $8,000 replacement for that hot water heater system. So that was one of the things we had to run into. And then when we moved in a couple months later, I guess we had to replace the refrigerator. It wasn't working. We had to replace the dryer machine. It wasn't working. Even though the inspector, walked through the house with us, we saw some of these things, but we didn't realize how bad it was. So just basically from the environment in the exterior, and then some of the interior, mechanicals that failed, as soon as we moved in. That's why I feel like that the price should have been the pre-pandemic price of the $499, which it didn't even sell for pre-pandemic. So I think due to the influx of new buyers over the last couple of years, the interest rates around during that time of October 2020 was pretty much record lows of, I think, around 2.75 or 3%. So which brought prices higher. And then, in my family situation, we were trying to move in when the kids were transitioning from elementary to middle school. We thought it was a good time to move in. And so we kind of just had to, that was our plan, was to move that year. And we had to because of the school situation and the kids situation. So, hey, based on all these, things I mentioned, I think that's why the price should have been at, $499, which was pre-pandemic.
Okay, so was it on the market in October of 2020 or no?
No, it had been rented during that
Got it.
time period, but it
Okay.
came off market in November 2019, and then it rented. And then it went back on the market in January of 2021. But, even at that low price at $499, it still didn't sell.
Correct.
And that was in 19, okay.
That was in,
And it went back on the
part.
market in January of 21 for how much?
It went on at $6,099, and then I don't know why it increased to $659.9 and then reduced to $649.9.
Who's the
It was
agent?
on for like 171 days and finally sold at $577.
Okay. In June of 2021?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't go lower.
Yeah.
Oh, we offered like, I think, $525, because we saw that it would even sell for $499, and we saw the
No, I'm
condition of
saying-
the house. Yeah.
Your appeal.
Yeah.
Well, he said, that's why I asked him, right, if you're changing your ask amount, because this is the time you can do it, you really, can't come back next week with a new number, but if you think if your ask amount is lower than $577, you can change that now, and that's.
Yeah, I mean,
$499.
$499 was the price that we were happy with, because that's what it was, pre-pandemic. It didn't sell for that price, so we thought that,
Okay.
based on all the scenarios that happened, the price shot up. But otherwise, it was kind of a temporary, I think, price inflation.
Okay, so you're gonna change to
$499, yeah.
Okay, I just want to note that for the record, okay.
And just for the record, I just want to note, in case anybody questions, because buying a water heater for $7,000 sounds ridiculous. It's not a water heater.
No,
it's a
not at all.
combi unit.
Yeah.
It's the boiler and water heater, and it included all the things you have to do, the things you have to put with it. The piping,
plumbing.
the expansion tank, the neutralizer for the condensate, which is acidic. So if it's neutralized line, it eats the line away, so you have to do that. And then connecting the gas line back up, so it was a lot more than just the
Yeah,
water.
so I had to take out a pretty much a
Yeah.
loan to pay just
Yep.
for the hot water heater system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
When did you do that work?
we just did it about 4 months ago.
Okay, so after October 1st,
So,
2020.
yeah, so when we
You don't
moved,
see any permits on your card, I was just wondering if you can pull a permit.
Here we go.
what's that?
Separate
Usually the
issue.
field cards will show that you pulled a permit to do that work, but I don't see a permit on your card, but the card could be old too, so.
Not sure, yeah, I mean,
But if you did it 4 months ago, that's not.
I think it was probably November or December, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so that was
Aquila did it.
after October
Aquila
1,
did it.
2020.
Aquila did it.
They're
They're a
very
reputable
good.
company. I would doubt that they
Aquila.
didn't pull a permit.
So they may have pulled a permit, it's
They
just
may have
not on
done
the
it, yep.
card. Okay.
Yeah, we call it, because
I'd be
we heard the best
surprised.
reviews about
Yeah,
them.
no, they're
They're very good, and I
Yeah.
would be surprised if they didn't do it properly. I
Yeah.
can't believe
And
they
you
did.
know
They did
what,
a really
those
good
permits
job,
may
yeah.
not, now that I think about it, hot water heater permits might not show on the field card anyway.
Oh, yeah,
It's
they may not,
mechanical,
because.
so, yeah, it's
No,
just a pass.
It might, it's a pass for the, you don't need a CO, but it might show on the field.
Well, it was a
I don't remember.
replacement, because
It was
we already had a
replacement, yeah.
system there, they pretty much took that one off,
Put a new one
and then
on.
put a new, what we had was a version 1, this was like a version 10.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did they say how old that was when you had
About,
something?
the
about
condition has a 5%
8 to 10 years old,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And those
For
systems, if you service them properly,
Yeah.
they'll last you about, I think, 12 to 15 years.
Yeah,
When Aquila came in, they said this hasn't been serviced for years.
there you go.
You have to service those.
Yeah, every year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so when, we had a huge leak in the basement, we had to, rip up the carpet, we had to, spend a week drying it, everything out, and then finally I was like, all right, we gotta call Aquila to
Wow.
do it the right way.
And they'll know what to do with it, but not only do you have to service, because it's a combination unit, to service the boiler part, you have to descale the water heater every couple of years. And
Yes.
That's about $300 or $400.
Yep,
So
every year
they're
we have to
expensive
get
to
it serviced.
maintain, but it's nice to have it.
Yeah,
Now, Carol was just looking at your field card, and it shows a 5% reduction in your taxes for, based on traffic. Now, did you know that?
I saw some information on like Zillow for the, annual tax amount, so, but I'm not sure like what it was compared to like years before.
So based on what you're telling us,
Mhm.
with the traffic and the stuff going on there, do you feel that the 5% is enough? Because if you think you're good with that, that's great. If you don't think so, then this is the time you would ask to change that. Because like, Kathleen said, you can't come back next week and change.
Yeah,
So,
what's the 5%, on what amount?
Well, it's factored in, as I understand it, it's already factored into the,
The land value.
the land, it's the land value,
The
not the
busy
house
street.
value, the land value.
Yeah.
On your field card. Yeah, it's showing the percentage. So in other words, it says that the assessor's office is recognizing that the value of your lot compared to another lot in the area is less because of the traffic.
It's 5% less.
Same house, same lot, and, around the corner would sell for more because of the traffic. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you add
recognize-
that number with the building number, it still equals to 607, right?
That's
from
right.
well,
12 to
it's on the
2020.
land, so your
It's on the land
land,
portion,
your
but if you add the
land,
two together, it's,
so you take 287, this is what they're saying your land is worth, 900, and you would, if I'm correct, you divide by .95. So they're saying that if you were a house with no problems with traffic,
Mhm.
your land would be valued at 303. They're giving you a 5% reduction
Got it.
to 287, call it 288.
Okay.
But in general, we try to get to what the market value of your house would have been if it sold on October 1st, 2020.
Yeah,
You're saying you think it should have been
should have been the 499, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, it was inflated just because of the scenario that was going on. I think it's a kind of a short-term, scenario due to the interest rates and due to the, influx of buyers, and we're seeing it leveling off now, so.
oh, what neighborhood is he in, by the way? I want to look at
He's
that.
in 86.
Oh, it's an 885 this time, how nice, okay.
So it's the one.
We know your realtor.
Oh, yeah?
Your cousin?
Oh, Aziz?
Yeah, Aziz.
My uncle, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
he's a good
You
guy.
like living in
We just saw
Fairfield?
this morning.
Oh, we love it, yeah.
Good.
He
Oh,
was
yeah.
the buyer or the listing agent? Buyer's agent?
He was my agent.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So now you understand about that 5%, and if you're okay with that, that's fine.
I mean, as long as what I'm asking for is that the total market value.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, the
Okay.
499 for the market value, yeah. I mean, whatever numbers, I don't know how you do it in the back end, but,
Okay.
for the land or for the building, but, that's the number we thought that would be the right
Okay.
number
I
due
don't
to,
think I don't think the homeowners have an appreciation really for the 5% versus 10% versus 15%,
And I don't
the
know
way
if
we
you
do.
can, yeah.
Yeah, it's the way that the assessor gets the formulas to work to come to the market value that he believes is the
Sure.
correct market value. And it's
Yeah.
mass appraisal, right? So they get some of it right, some are too high, some are too low.
Mhm.
And that's why we're here for the ones that might be
Yeah.
too high. You get to come in and say, hey, look, your model didn't work for me, because my house isn't as good as you think it is, or I've got more traffic and you're not recognizing it.
yeah, if you just go down Brooklawn
Oh, I
Terrace,
know, we've been there.
oh, it's,
Oh, yeah.
everyone's walking riding their bikes, but right in front of my house,
Yeah.
it's the main road, it's a four-way. We knew that when we were buying it, but we didn't know how much traffic there was and
Where are
the
you
speeding.
coming from?
So I grew up in Fairfield. I moved out for about 6 years up in Bridgeport, and then we bought a house in Fairfield.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And how many times have you had to call the police?
Probably just, I think maybe two times. I mean, if there was one situation for like a medical emergency at our house, they came within 2 to 3 minutes, which is great. But just, it was something across the street, where in the middle of the night, someone was doing like drag racing or whatever they do with their cars, and you're
Yeah,
stuck
but they
there.
could have crashed right into your house,
Oh, yeah,
for all you know.
There's been many times where just cars just drive like 60 miles per hour on Brookline Avenue, and they don't even care about the stop sign. They just fly by.
Well,
And
no, what stops?
if you're going on the Bridgeport side, then Fairfield police can't do anything about it.
Wow.
But when I get out the driveway, then we have to be really careful with cars flying down the road.
Oh, goodness.
So
And you don't have air conditioning, is that right?
there is no central AC
Okay,
in the.
That's what it says on the card. I'm looking at your notes here too.
Yeah, it's interesting, because it looks like it's a pretty,
And this is
It's
new,
nice.
you're just bringing this in tonight, right? I'm not seeing it in this folder.
Let me see
How
that.
old is it?
yeah, how old is your house?
92 it was built.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
I'm good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I added a couple like images, like I think on page 3 with a larger map of the. You probably already have that, but just kind of like showing my house up in the corner with a little marker on it, and then across the street, and then the 4-way intersection there, so you can kind of get an idea of where we're located compared to the border.
Oh, yeah. Right there.
I think we're good, so,
That's all I have.
right? We're going to make our decisions probably, we intend to finish next week, and then we let the assessor's office know, and usually within a week, they'll send you a letter,
Okay.
with our decision, and if you don't like if we deny you, you can come back next year.
Sure.
Or if you don't like what we say, you can also, the next step would be to go to court too, if you want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Are you good?
Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
Take care.
So this needs to be added, right? I don't see this.
Yeah.
There's a big family.
He sells to so many
I know it.
of his family, it's unbelievable.
I know.
So one of ours, withdrew for tonight,
Which
I
one?
think this one,
Which one?
yeah,
On Morehouse?
yeah, Morehouse.
Oh, 'cause I couldn't pull up that file.
That's, is it Appeal 51 or something?
Yeah, if you want,
Yeah,
can't
so
be.
she did call the other two and ask them to come earlier. I don't
Okay.
know, she didn't say if she reached them, but she did call them.
Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Ouch. Julia?
Dark house.
Okay. What?
Very dark.
What's up?
Oh, that's Jim Cameron.
Oh, yeah, the one, Rockridge.
Yeah.
What's the next one, the number?
Okay, next, or is that?
I see 430 Rockridge, is that right?
52?
Appeal 52.
Dr. Carolyn's son. Dr. Carolyn's son.
Doctor? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his
what's
father's
the
son.
date?
Is that an extra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they were in the file, right?
Two appraisals.
I try to keep my mouth shut about doctors these days, ever since I was sitting in the Higgins office and accused some doctor of being a jerk.
And the doctor was there?
No, it was your ex-husband.
Oh. I don't remember that.
You were sitting, like, you were sitting on the far side of the room, with Ann Small, you two were talking, and I didn't know who you were.
Oh, so you do know my last name?
No, and I mean, I knew it's the name,
Yeah.
and I had to go see this doctor. My lawyer sent me to him. He was kind of odd, and I'm like, I was not in a good mood. So I was telling him, he was.
An arrogant,
Dr. Lang was
probably arrogant.
jerk. And I said his last name, and then I saw there was like quiet from the other side of the room. And I said, that's my ex-husband. I was like, oh my God, I'm so
Better
sorry.
be an ex,
Like,
than
they're like, oh, that's okay, don't worry about it.
Did he remarry?
No,
You still around here?
thank God, no. No,
Oh,
he moved to Rhode Island
oh, okay.
a long time ago.
What kind of doctor?
Ortho.
At OSG.
Oh,
They kicked his ass out.
No, they kicked him out.
But that's the real story.
Okay.
That's not the one they'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So,
Okay, let's see.
actually, somebody's here or not here?
No one said
Oh, okay.
when I made the announcement.
No, you all, oh, she's not here, so.
Given the age of the dwelling substantial.
You all know that Ross is away next week, right?
Nope.
You knew or you didn't know?
No.
He's away. So he will not be here for deliberation.
She,
So he's having, Paula, because we're gonna be in the building, so he's having Paula stop in every one of the nights we're deliberating at 8 o'clock for questions. So if we have questions, we can ask her. I thought he sent that to all of us, or I would have said that. He sent that to me the other day. I thought it was the whole BAA, so I didn't say anything, but I just thought I'd mention it now.
did Jennifer provide any comps?
Jennifer, who?
Caroline?
I don't know. I didn't see any.
I don't see any either,
Maybe they're bringing them.
maybe.
I'm sure he talked to Cheryl, and I'm sure Cheryl told him what to do.
The dwelling is being compared to newer homes, and given the age of the dwelling, substantial renovations would be required to bring it to the proposed value.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, come on in.
Come on in.
You can have a seat, you can hear this one, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so welcome to the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Thank
It's
you.
your lucky day, you get all 5 of us. Usually
Wow.
It's just one person or 2, but this year we're doing them all together. So, the time is, 6:59 PM, and I'm just gonna read some information into the record, make sure I've got the right property here. So, is your appeal number 52? Property address is 430 Rock Ridge Road. You got the right one?
Yes.
Okay, because I know they called you to come early. Okay. The town has your property valued at $690,900, and you're requesting a reduction to $655,000.
Correct.
Is that right? Okay, great. And then the second thing I'm going to do is ask you to identify yourself for the record, give your name, and then tell us whether you're the owner of the property or you're an agent on behalf of the owner.
Sure. So name is James Carolyn, and I'm the owner of the property.
Okay, great. And you are being recorded. I just want you to know that.
Okay.
So the next thing I'm going to do is ask you to raise your right hand so I can swear you in, and then we'll have you sign. Okay. Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Okay, and so now this is your, we'll get you to sign first.
Oh, my.
Okay, and this is your opportunity to tell us why you think the market value, if your house had sold on October 1st of 2020, why it would have sold for the $655 and not for the value that the town has it at.
Sure. So, based on some comps that I had collected and the amount of work that's required on the house, I just didn't feel that it was a accurate assessment based on, what was available in the market. The amount of ledge that we have in the house, in the yard, is significant. It's also in the basement. I don't know that that's reflected in the rate card. We have some, windows that need to be replaced. We have a driveway that needs to be replaced, and we have outdated bathrooms from the 1970s. So there's a significant amount of work to bring it up to a place where it could be, sold at a current market value.
And you said you brought comps with you?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give us those addresses?
Sure.
Maybe we can start looking it up.
So the first one is 166 Rock Ridge Road.
966?
166.
166, Rock Ridge.
And can you just say, do you have the price that it sold for and the date?
Yes, so at closing price was $502,500, and it closed on 3/31/2020. And again, I don't believe there's any ledge listed on this card or this listing.
What's that? He's gonna adjust it for the ledge.
And does it have similar square footage to your house? Does it look like your house, or
It does look like the house.
looks like your house?
Different
Okay.
siding.
Okay, a similar style and age and all that?
Yes.
Okay, and how
Same
about like
neighborhood.
square footage and all that, pretty similar, or lot
Square-
size?
Let's see. Lot size is the same, and year built is roughly within a couple of years. And I would say the size, we have, I think, 2 additional bedrooms. Other than that, everything's pretty consistent.
Do you have the letter that was given to you from the town by any chance, indicating your new assessment? I was just curious.
I see like a
This one?
kitchen remodel or something?
Yeah, I was wondering whether this was a revised, like that other one that we saw where, because the kitchen was remodeled, remember that gentleman?
Oh, that guy from the other
got a
day, yeah.
revised?
But you didn't really do anything to the house, right?
We did kitchen in 2021, but it's still not finished. Unfortunately, I was out of work last year, so we weren't able to finish it off, and so we've never been able to close a permit.
Oh,
So,
Let me take a
it
look at
looks
the
like
comp.
it is closed.
Yeah, they
Is
did,
that your
they
only
did.
Whatever
comp,
one
or
you
you
have,
have
I
other
see
comps?
the instead comp.
3 comps, yeah.
Take a look.
The next
I think
one is
that's-
the same size as
Okay.
the house, 5 bedrooms.
Right, because it looks like, right, from 21 to 22, it got, the appraised value was
24
increased
Rock Ridge.
from 676,100 to 690, 670.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
So that's the
3 bedrooms, 2
kitchen.
I
baths.
think that's the kitchen making that effect,
32
that
square
would be
feet
my
with
guess,
some
right.
finished space in the basement.
And then there's another.
What does it sell for?
It's sold, hold on.
Are you using the kitchen?
We're using the
535.
kitchen, yeah.
Okay, so,
Uh-huh.
but it's,
Not
how is it
finished.
not finished?
920.
The, one of the, closets has no door on it, so it's wide open, and we need to finish some of the venting,
Okay.
and some of the more, detail work.
Okay, but you have countertops, you
We
have
have
stove
countertops.
and a sink and dishwasher, and it's working.
It functions.
It functions, okay.
This is 166, well,
Yeah, and a permit was pulled, it looked like for that kitchen for 31,000, right? So that's
Yeah.
probably why your value went up from last year to this year, they probably added some value for the kitchen,
Okay.
right? Because this year you're at 690,
What's the other one, 5 bedroom?
last year you were at
that
670
is
something.
141 Deepwood.
Yeah, so there's really two things coming into play here. One is,
676, 5
I
bedrooms.
think we can explain the increase based on the kitchen, but
Mhm.
we can look, since he's presenting
Hold
comp
on.
from that time period, that we can look
1420.
at your base
1420.
Right.
number may have been off
Okay.
to
To
begin
begin
with.
with, exactly. So do you have other comps there too besides, can
I
you
shared
repeat what they
I
are?
just shared the 4 with them.
Oh, okay. Can you guys say what comps you have?
Yeah, 141 Deepwood Road,
Deepwood?
Deepwood.
And can you just read a little bit?
5 bedrooms, 3 full baths, 3,319 square feet, plus another 570 in the basement.
Sale price and year and all that?
8/14/20, and it sold for $660.
What made you come up with the
141?
655?
That's funny, it's not on MLS.
Just based on the, it seemed like a significant increase.
141.
It just didn't seem like it was.
So are you trying to go back
I don't know.
to your,
Here it is on MLS.
like how,
I'd like to go back to the 655.
okay, so you're going back to before, yeah.
But it was
Gotcha.
$676, right?
Well, what other, do you need, what other address do you need, Kathleen? Did you get the first one he was talking
I
about?
got the 166 Rockridge is sold on March 31st, 2020 for
Okay.
502, and then the 141 Deepwood sold for $660 on 8/14/20.
And 24 Rockridge, 8 rooms, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,532 square feet with 365 in the basement, additional. Closed on 9/9/20 for 535.
For 535?
Mhm.
Okay.
Where'd you get all these? Did an agent give you these MLSs?
I was just digging through them, yeah.
Oh,
Okay, and it's 1,500 square feet, and yours is 2,800 square feet?
Can't find them.
2,800, yes.
MLS number.
MLS number.
Out of the three that you have there, which one do you think is most like your house?
294.
The 166, the 141, or the 24?
The,
Here, take a look, I'm done with these. Oh, wait, there's one more, I didn't see this one.
Oh, there's another one.
229 Lindemer.
Oh, Windermere, they said Windermere.
Windermere,
What?
8 rooms, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, 1,938 square feet, plus another 850 in the basement. Sold on 3/3/21 for $635.
What's your square footage, Ken?
just under 3,000.
Is that with the, there's no finished basement in that house, I don't think. Sorry.
Is that a raised ranch or a split? Oh, that's one of those, is it split?
Hmm,
And there's no picture on the field card.
You enter, you're up and down?
no, it's not split.
Okay.
So it was a ranch, and then
Oh, there it is.
it has a second floor that was, addition, but it not one of the, like,
Yes,
splits.
yes, okay.
And what was the one on Lindmere, what number?
229.
Which one did you think was most like your house if you had
Say
to,
141.
like if you were buying in the neighborhood, yeah, you're like, oh, this one's the most like me.
141 Deepwood in terms of size.
Yeah.
Let's see.
The other ones are much less square footage.
Mhm.
Yeah, Deepwood is the same, I mean, it's got the 5 bedrooms. It looks like a similar style.
Does Deepwood have the, ledge issue?
I don't think they do over there, but I'm not positive about that. Rockridge is like famous for it,
Yeah.
Hence the name.
considering it's in his
Yeah,
basement.
there is some adjustment on his land for the ledge.
Yeah.
Point
The
nine
whole
five.
backyard, yeah, it's in the basement.
No, it doesn't appear to have any ledge
Jack that up,
listed on the comp,
give them a little bit.
Yeah,
to answer your question.
yes,
This 141 Deepwood doesn't appear to have any ledge on the comp.
okay.
This is this.
And that's sold for what?
Closed 660.
660.
Hmm? Mhm.
Okay.
That was, so I couldn't pull that up.
Yeah, that is weird. That happens to me a lot, man. That whole system's screwed up. Especially when you're using like an iPad, forget it, or an iMac.
Oh, yeah.
Is Deepwood in your neighborhood? I'm not, yeah.
I have pictures if you guys want to.
Yeah, well, what they'll do is they'll scan them all into the file so that we can see them. Did they already take them or no?
No, I didn't take them, I gave them back.
Oh, yeah, so you, pictures of your house?
Pictures of ours.
Yeah, if that's not already in the file, that'd be great.
Oh, let me see that too. I'll send it down. Okay, thank you.
It's called Rockridge for,
Yeah, it's called Rockridge for a reason, yeah.
wow. How long have you lived in the home?
8 years.
Oh, wow.
8.5, I think.
Driveway.
Nice neighborhood, yeah.
There's one Colin.
Colin?
No, are you the one that has the hockey player?
Yes,
Yeah,
Seamus.
yeah. I knew
The
it.
other, or Sam.
I'm on that fence of spiritual prayer hockey.
Oh, okay.
Definitely both.
My boys play there.
Oh, okay, great.
It's a lot of fun.
Those
Then
are
you
the
grow up.
days.
Yes.
I'll send it, they got
They
the
get a
ring.
real life.
It's a rock and a ridge.
They got it, yep.
Plus, we use Cheryl all the time,
Oh, yeah?
Cheryl's great, yeah. Carmine was the best.
our go-to. Queen Carmine.
Yeah, still kicking it up in the nursing home.
Guys, do you think we should go back and change this, the kitchen to saying it's 100% complete if it's not?
Well, I asked him what wasn't done, so they're using it, right? You have a closet that's not finished, he's got some.
Yeah, like the
things
pantry
to
has
do.
no door on it,
Pantry
so
doesn't have a
everything's
door.
wide open.
But it has the stoves and the countertops and the cabinets, and you're using it as a kitchen, so.
The vent needs to be,
Is that the vent
Finished.
for your stove? Yeah, it took us a year to get that done on ours too. Right?
Yep.
But shouldn't it be
CFN.
more like 95%?
Yeah.
I don't know, that-
But did they come and inspect it, or no?
no, like there was no finish, the only inspection they did was a rough
How
inspection.
is it complete without a vent?
yeah, how do they know it's 100%, how do they know it's 100% complete when they haven't been in the house?
The only inspection they came out to do was when they looked at the footings that supported the wall.
So that would not have been anywhere near 100%, so.
Well, it says per inspection, complete for 10/1/22.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it says on here, with no vent. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't have them come back out to finish it, because we want to get the vent done.
That's the hardest part, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Okay. Fun.
I mean, we can certainly,
That should be
we can,
changed.
yeah, that's.
I think that should be
Yeah.
changed.
We can look at,
Be waiting
there may be
forever.
some reason why they mark it that way based on what's in the building department, right, if your contract.
Maybe
is full
because they don't want
permit.
him to be illegal because he's using it or something.
Yeah. But you're good, I think right? You guys have more questions or anything?
No.
We've got pictures
Any
here.
any
and-
questions on the pictures or
Yeah,
anything?
no, it shows the ledge and everything, right? And you've
Yep.
given us some comps. Yep.
I'm gonna call the building department and ask them why they have it listed that way.
Oh, okay.
There may be a reason, I just wanna get it clarified. And you did mention that ledge, because I see from the pictures, it's in the basement too.
Yeah,
Not
that's
just
in
on
the
the property.
pictures.
Yep, I see that. Is it a dirt
Basically half the
foundation?
basement.
Yeah.
No, it's just all rock,
Rock.
it's just painted rock, I guess.
Huh.
You'll never. be able to-
Natural foundation.
Pain in the neck, to be honest, 'cause
I'm sure.
hard to get to all the mechanicals.
Yeah, I bet.
That's one other thing I didn't mention, is that the mechanicals the furnace is about 50 years old.
And your skylights look pretty old, I see that.
That skylight there actually has a cover over it. That's not, you can't even see the skylight because I had to build a frame over it to cover it. Because it goes into the bathroom, which is the previous picture. So above that sink is where that skylight is, and that skylight leaks, so I had to put the frame over it.
I think you're good, you guys.
Anything else?
Want to give you the comps down here, right? Did we keep those, whatever he listed for
I
comps?
pass them down? I don't have them.
Yeah, we
They
don't
have
have
them,
them
they
here.
didn't give them back to you, did they? Right there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
there they are, right there, yep, he's
Yeah,
got
we
them.
just want to get them, if we didn't get them already, we just want to get them added to the file.
Because we can copy it. Do you want to keep them?
No, I can
Okay.
put them in another version.
Awesome.
Okay?
Yeah, that
Thank
sounds
you.
good. And, we will make,
Thank you.
oh yeah, I didn't know if you, we'll make our decisions hopefully next week, and the assessor will send you a letter about a week after our decision.
Okay.
So if you get denied, you can come back next year. If we grant you something, then you can't come back until the next reval.
Okay.
And if you don't like the decision, you can go to court, I'm sure Cheryl would love to go with you. You look a lot like your dad, but.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Take care, Jen.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have men here. Looks like
Hello.
appeal
I do.
number 50.
Yep, give me 1 second to get
Yes,
my
let's sit like in the
paperwork
middle.
together.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
He does look a lot like his father, he's actually got a looking at his father, they look good. Yeah, yeah.
So, welcome to the Board of Assessment Appeals. You have all 5 members here tonight. We're going to hear your appeal. The time is 7:16 PM, and I'm just gonna read some information into the record and just correct any of it that's wrong, okay? So, your appeal number is 50, your property address is 1300 Post Road, the owner of the property is Evergreen, okay, you have to say the second word.
Evergreen Protestantic Associates.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and the town, because I think this is a personal property, is that right?
I
what
rent
you're-
it.
No, but I think, are you appealing is this a personal property appeal or a real estate appeal?
I think it's the personal property.
Personal property,
Yeah.
okay, so we have values of $100,380, but it's probably an assessed value, is my guess, and you're asking it to be reduced to $64,295.
Right, so I think year over year was a pretty big jump.
Okay, and then one other thing, I just want you to, state your name for the record and whether you're the owner of the business, you're being recorded here,
Yep, so my name is Min Sung Yoon, I am the owner of the business.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have you raise your right hand. I'm gonna swear you in.
Yeah.
Do you solemnly swear that the information you shall give concerning the assessment appeal now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Okay, and Kathy's just gonna ask you to have you sign this to say you're sworn in. Okay.
Yeah. That's it? Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and now's your opportunity to tell us, what's up with your, personal property appeal here and why you think the numbers aren't correct on
Yeah,
that,
so,
right?
last year I did construction on the property. We went from, it's a 3,000 square foot office. We have 4 operatories, and I expanded to 3 more operatories, 500 more square feet, but the actual construction was about 1,000 square feet. So right now it's a total of 7 operatories that we actually built in. But it's 3 operatories, but I could see why the assessment would have to go up, but I don't see why it would go up almost 3 times what it was.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, wait a minute, you filled out your form, right?
Which
The
one?
form is here,
Mm-hmm.
Right, it was a- it's
the
not
personal
stamped,
property form.
I must have filled it out sometime. I think.
Hold on.
Yeah, it says the total,
Mhm.
Because I think it's stamped. Maybe not that one, and it says receipt, is that for this or is that?
Yeah.
He was-
I just wanna see what your total is. What's
Yeah,
your
we
total,
did that.
appraised value of your personal property?
I think they appraised it at 100,000 or something like that.
Not the town, what your,
Oh.
you filled out your own declaration.
Right. I'll have to actually look up what I actually fill out, because usually.
We're looking at it,
Right.
I always have a hard
So,
time trying to see the total.
is that the appraised value? Because in 2021, your appraised value was 52,486.
Mhm.
I don't really understand.
So I'm assuming because fair market value, you're saying should be 64,295?
Right, I can't see why it would have gone up that much. I'll have to see what my
Who filled
accountant,
this out?
usually my accountant would have.
That's what I'm saying, I think,
Yeah.
right, have you seen I can give this to you,
Yep,
but
I
you
can
probably
see
have
it.
a copy of it online.
Yeah.
But it totals $100,380 at the bottom.
Right.
And the majority of the item is, furniture and fixtures
Mhm.
that they have valued at, a appraised value of $132,654, and then it's assessed at $92,860. So that's the majority of your $100,000 is the $92,860. There's probably a couple other things in here, like
Right.
expense supplies. So that's why if you're saying that what you submitted here isn't accurate, or he didn't submit the right, whoever your accountant.
Yeah, I'll
submitted
have
the
to
right
actually take a look what
Yeah,
he
okay, so let me
actually
give you that.
submitted. Yep, thank you.
Okay.
So wait, this 100,380, who filled this out?
The account.
And it's initials at the bottom, right?
The accountant filled
But it
it out?
says underneath, at the very bottom of that handwriting, it says assessor's final assessment total. So does that mean that was the assessor doing this part? That very bottom page?
I think
Where
somebody
that
signed it.
100,380 is?
Yes. It's
Oh, it says the
literally
final
assessor's
assessment total.
final
Yeah.
assessment total. So that to me looks like that's
Oh, yeah.
what Rob did.
Yes, that's the assessment total he has,
Okay,
so that
okay.
means his appraised value is
But
140.
when the accountant filled out the value of the furniture,
Right, as 92,000.
I see 132 unless.
Where's that?
right above there, there's an assessment value, and then it says the value.
Right.
Furniture and fixtures, I see. Assessment and the value, okay. 92.
Yeah, but if you go to the end, is that different? If you go to the page 7? Yeah, there's a 132.
How about the page where it says, scan number 4? Okay, we've got machinery and equipment, 0. Furniture and fixtures, net value, $132,654. Telecom equipment, nothing, goods, charities, cables, conduits. So it looks like the accountant has basically declared, in my opinion, it looks like the original cost was $209, and then it's depreciated, yada, 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 to $132.
Right. And then if you go to page 7, the 132 is carried into the appraised column, and then you'll see the assessed amount of $92,860 to the right for the furniture for line 16.
And that's 70%?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm guessing,
that
yeah.
calculates automatically.
Yeah, right. And then there's a few other things, but that brings the total, and so whatever the net assessment, the 95,150, I'm not sure why it says
Yeah, your
100,380. Someone wrote that
Okay,
in.
so it's purely by whatever this is actually filled in here.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that the furnitures and fixtures must be the dental chairs or something like that, so.
I mean, yeah, so do you want to check with your accountant to see if you made an error?
Okay. Yeah, I just,
Yeah, because those numbers came from your.
okay, gotcha. I wasn't sure exactly how the numbers
Right,
came
it's
out,
just
but
that
okay.
you added three rooms.
I mean, I guess we could, I know, always the dental stuff is pretty expensive, so, and I'm sure the rest of the other 4 operatories, it's probably already depreciated out, so,
Do you have a total of 7 now?
yes.
Yeah, so you had 4, you added 3 more.
So that, you know what, actually, when I'm looking at number 16, the furnitures and fixtures, this might be correct. Because I'm seeing that 84,000 that he actually put in number 16, that's almost exactly what we paid for the chairs. So that's probably correct, so.
On page 5, there's some notes too. It says 10/20/20 equipment was missing. So maybe they forgot to include it in October 2020 deck. You see that note on page 5? Says 10/20/20 equipment was missing, $18,000 asset adjusted 10/1/21. Now, we don't know, that could have just been not the chairs, but something. Declaration amount is correct.
Oh, so maybe it's 84 plus 16. What's that?
Yeah, at the bottom, you mean that? That's why you get the 108, the 100?
A little box keeps scrolling over the page.
Yeah, there's no penalties on here, right? You filed on time, so there's no 25.
Go up.
Yeah, I
There's
think,
no penalty.
right on track.
Keep going.
So you're paying taxes on 100,000, it looks like. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the gross assessment.
That sounds about right.
But last
Yeah,
year, you were paying taxes on, what did you say?
So,
36.
it's probably right in the sense that I just didn't realize how this thing exactly worked. But it's probably because all of the other equipment is probably all depreciated out. So that's probably why the value is actually,
Yeah, the newer ones.
Yeah, and the newer one's much more
Have-
expensive, so
Yeah.
it's probably, that's probably the biggest jump right there. So I didn't really add anything else other than dental chairs, pretty much, so.
Why don't you just double check that those were the right numbers?
Okay.
And get back to us.
Yeah, I was just shocked at because it almost tripled, but I guess that's kind of what, if it is, then it is, so.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I guess the good
Yeah.
news is that it would go down every year now that they're all depreciated.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we'll still get a tax break on it from, the write-offs and stuff like that, but,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, well, do we want to give them our
So if it
BAA?
does change,
Email?
you can get it.
Yeah.
I'll let them know. I actually don't think it's going to, because I think that when I'm double checking that number, I think that number's correct, so.
Okay, all right.
I'll have to suck it up and just pay it, so.
That's okay.
Well, thank you very
But do
much.
you want us to make a decision on it anyway? You have a choice of withdrawing it if you want, and then we just don't vote on it. If you want to keep the value that you're asking for on it, we'll take a vote on it.
I mean, if you guys
probably.
wanna take a vote on it, yeah.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
okay with it, so.
So, but if you wanted to, if we're voting on that, if you wanted to come back next year,
Well, personal properties would change every year.
Yeah, true.
I think personal properties you can
Yeah.
come back every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like real estate where
Yeah.
it's once every 5 years.
Okay.
I'm
Did the
pretty
mill
sure.
rate change from last year to this year going in, or?
It changes every year.
Every year.
That's right, yeah,
Mhm.
It will
okay.
change again.
For personal property, it does.
It does,
For the
right?
real estate, it's every 5.
Okay.
No, the mill rate
changes
changes, so
every
the
year.
mill
Oh,
rate
and the mill rate will
Yeah.
change, yes, yeah.
And then that'll affect your assessment, your tax.
Okey-doke. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Good night.
You too.
Oh, can we have that one back? Is that, yeah, that's okay. I just want to keep it in the record.
Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. Are we good to conclude and turn off, you think?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Okay, yep, so the time is 7:27 PM, and this concludes the Wednesday, March 8th hearings of the Board of Assessment.